Welcome into Knicks Mail.bag, presented by the Strickland and by all of you good folks that support us on Patreon and, of course, by our friends at Bet Online, which I'll talk about in just a moment. I'm Alex Wolf. I'm editor and chief of the Strickland. You might also know me from Locked On Knicks and various other places where I've put my face talking about things over the years, talking about the Knicks. And I'm joined by one of my co-hosts. We're doing a little split pod action, which we've done before because, you know, my two lovely co-hosts have such robust, overflowing social lives that
this isn't a social life issue for me this time, to be fair.
Work life issue. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
For one, work life, the other, I assume, social life. I don't know. But either way, we couldn't get you guys on at the same time this week, but it's the week before the playoffs. So we'd better put an episode out this week. So we're recording it in two parts. So joined first by my good buddy Warm Perm at Warm Perm on Twitter, Matt Weiss. How are you?
I'm okay. You know, we normally do these playoff preview pods in person. That's been the trend, but not this time. We weren't really prepared for it at all. So we normally talk about it like a month in advance, and we just didn't even try to prep it this time. So whatever. When the Knicks make the finals, we'll do our finals preview in person.
That would be fun. That would be pretty cool. Yeah. Or we'll just do a live show from the parade after they win the championship.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah.
While being
just don't put Schwinn on camera because he's going to be fully naked. So
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we get into the questions, let me just remind everybody real quick that this show is brought to you by Bet Online, and Bet Online is your number one source for all your summer sports this season, from MLB, golf, the NBA, and NHL playoff stats. All the latest stats, news, and scores are available to follow for your favorite teams. So get the latest odds and lines, including the latest team matchups, player props, and odds on just about every sport out there. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to get in on the action. Bet Online, it's where the game starts. And if you guys aren't already supporting us on Patreon and you'd like to, maybe check out patreon.com/the Strickland, or go to the strict.land and click on the Patreon item in the header, whatever you want to call that. And it'll take you to our Patreon, where you can get access to our sort of sister show, the Takes from Obvious Bozos. You can get access to the full version of Pod Strickland on Fridays. You can get access to Schwinn's solo pod, Strick and Roll. You can get access to the Strickland Discord. You can get access to all sorts of different stuff. And there's a couple different tiers that you can get into. $6 tier gets you 2 of those pods plus the Discord access. $9 tier gets you the other pod, Schwinn's solo pod, Strick and Roll, plus written pieces from Matthew Miranda, published right onto our Patreon. And you get merch discounts, which I think by the time this is coming out, we have some new merch coming out if you want to get some of that. So you can also click on the shop tab on the strict.land or go to the strickland.bigcartel.com to check that out. But yeah, check us out on the Patreon, patreon.com/the Strickland, and support us if you want to support some people that you like. It's like the cost of a large or like a venti Starbucks fancy drink per month to support some people you like. So definitely check it out.
Unless you're doing
let's get into what's that.
I said unless you're doing the $100 tier, then it's like I don't know. Yeah. It's like $100. It's $100.
And it's a gold flaked Starbucks latte.
There you go. Yeah.
With truffle
you don't need
that.
Or something. You don't need that. You can just spend that $100 on the Strickland.
Yeah, it works too.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into these questions. So I split these questions up. Some of them we'll be answering. Some of them I'll be just asking for Zach's opinion on in the second half of the pod. But some of these we're just going to cover. Some of them I'm just going to cover with Zach. So let's get started. Some of these were from a few weeks ago because people will just ask questions as it comes to their head, which please keep doing that. If you're in the Discord and you ever just have something that comes to your head, just drop it in the mailbag questions folder and we'll always get to it. We weeded out one or two that were a little dated at this point, but Far Off the Mark in Discord wants to know, since Grimes fell out of favor with Tibbs after not playing through pain last year, wouldn't that consequentially mean that we're not going to re-sign OG? Now, this was asked when OG was hurt, but obviously everybody was concerned that he was not making enough effort to play through pain or whatever. And then Mark added, since according to Berman of the Post, he quote, isn't comfortable playing through pain. So I don't know. I I don't think so, Matt, but that's
Yeah.
my very brief answer.
I don't think they spent. First of all, as much as Rose respects Tibbs' opinion, I don't think for it. Well, okay, hold on. I'm kind of scattered here, but Tibbs clearly doesn't have any issue with OG. He plays him like insane minutes every night when he is healthy. So I don't think we have to worry about him treating him like he treated Grimes. I don't. That seemed like a bullshit rumor anyway. Honestly, Grimes just kind of like wasn't producing, so he didn't play. But Rose will not have given up Barrett, and especially quickly, for what amounted to 23 games plus the playoffs of OG Anunoby. There's just no. They're re-signing him. Frankly, Anunoby's agent knows that they have the Knicks over a barrel, which I mean, conveniently, it's Rose's son, so that shouldn't be as much of an issue. But right, I'm right about that. His agent's Leon's son.
I think so.
Yeah.
I could double check that while you continue talking.
I think his agent is Leon's son. Regardless of whoever it is, they know they have a lot of leverage over the next year. So
he is with Sam Rose. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I mean, maybe it's considering it's his son. I have a feeling they already have a contract worked out, and they're just going to sign it as soon as they can when the season ends. Again, they wouldn't have traded for him if they weren't planning on re-signing him. I think it's that simple.
Yeah, I'm with you too. I mean, I don't think there's any world where he doesn't end up re-signing with the Knicks. Like they would have been that would be just really foolish asset management and really foolish to look at how good the team has been with him 20-3, with him in the starting lineup. Like there's no world where you don't re-sign that guy, especially.
Did he have a positive plus minus today? Did he do it?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
It's probably close because because of how the game went. I want to look now while you're talking. But if he did, then every game with the Knicks this year, he had a positive plus minus.
Yeah, I don't.
He was a +8 today. So
I was about to say there's no way he was not positive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, they just play so much better with him on the floor. He allows them to do exactly what they want to do. He's exactly Tibbs' type of player. Like, regardless of the injury history, like some guys, you just suck it up. Like, you just go, you know what? Maybe he'll only play 60 games a season, and that'll sort of be like his high water mark. But those 60 games, you're probably going to win 75% of them with him out there. So, because he's that good with it.
This doesn't matter anymore because we're in the playoffs now, but like going forward with him, I would imagine they will, like you could see they're totally willing to do injury management shit. Like for all of Tibbs's, what everyone assumes Tibbs wants everyone to play until they break. Like Hartenstein didn't play on Friday just because, which was great. He didn't need to. Mitch didn't play the second half today, which seems like just because they were like, you know what, he seems a little tired. Let's just rest him. And they did. Like Anunoby will probably next year just like, they'll sit him once in a while just to keep him healthy because he's injury prone, and that's fine, especially with Randall back. Like, who the fuck cares? It's not, next year, of course. Unfortunately, Randall will not be here for the playoffs, but when Randall's back and next season, I don't think we have to worry about it.
Yeah, and to that end, even Hartenstein in this game in the finale, I mean, they were going into overtime, and he played Precious the whole overtime, instead of playing Hartenstein because of the minute mandate. So
which was like honestly, they probably could have let Hartenstein play a few minutes, but Precious was great in overtime, so who cares? It worked out. But
but I don't think there's any chance they don't re-sign OG Anunoby. So I think playing through pain or not, Tibbs clearly doesn't care. He loves him. So all right, next question comes to us from Villain X, who wants to know, so I'm pretty sure I know exactly when this question was asked too. I think it was during that game when Deuce hit 9 threes the day after Dante hit 11
or 11 rather.
Yeah, and so Villain X wanted to know, does McBride have a chance to break the 3-point record this year? Obviously not now. Now that we're at the end of the season, or will he do it next season? I'm going to say he's not going to either.
He's not going to do it.
He's not going to next season either. I don't think. I just think that record took so long to fall. And like, it's hard to make 11 threes in a game, like let alone 12. Like he'd have to make 12, which would then put him 2 away from the NBA record, which is crazy. Like, I don't think Deuce is that dude. I love Deuce to death. I think he's going to have tons of 5 3-point made games next year and beyond, hopefully. But yeah, I just don't think that's in the cards for him.
I think if anyone breaks the record, it'll be Dante again. Like Deuce
Mhm.
just doesn't volume shoot threes enough for it. You know, he did that one game, but like realistically, that's just not going to happen enough. Dante takes 23s a game pretty consistently. You
Mhm.
know, so like
I
he could definitely. I don't think he will, just because even for Dante, hitting 12 threes would be really fucking hard, but he could.
Yeah. I think I also think Brunson maybe would have a chance of breaking it if he has one of those like nuclear hot 3-point games like he did
Yeah, I
against
don't know.
Phoenix.
He just he doesn't. I mean, do not take this as a complaint about Brunson, who I really can't complain about at all. But like, I don't think he stays hot from three for long enough. He had that one half this year, but otherwise, like, I just don't think, which is fine. He doesn't need to be perfect, but like, I don't think he stays hot from three for long enough to ever do it. Honestly,
Yeah. I mean, I think he probably I just think that he knows his game and he knows how he's feeling any given night.
yeah,
And if he was like
exactly.
just nonstop hitting threes, he
Yeah,
wouldn't stop shooting them. Um,
no, no, no.
so I there's a chance. I don't think it's gonna happen though. I think if anything, Dante will just break his own record again.
Right, yeah.
Um, all right, let's go to our next question. Also from Villain X wants to know: do you skip Donovan Mitchell and wait for bigger fish or better fish? He says, but I would say bigger fish. What do you think?
I am very torn about this. Um, I mean, I think a lot of people are coming around to Mitchell who weren't before because the team, like, if you when we were imagining Brunson, a lineup of Brunson, Mitchell, like maybe theoretically Grimes, Randall in the center. It's like Grimes is a good defender, but was not good enough to make up for Brunson and Mitchell being your two guard defenders. But first of all, Mitchell's actually been a little bit better defensively this season than he's been in the past. And like presumably if Anunoby is taking the toughest assignment now, you know, Mitchell would be taking maybe even like the third toughest assignment because the big is, you know, he's not going to guard the big. So like he's going to take the second toughest like guard wing assignment, which might not be a particularly amazing player at most teams. So defensively, it probably will work now with Anunoby a little better than it would have before they had him. But I just don't want to touch this team at all. I know the Knicks are out there still saying they want to trade for a star, and obviously Mitchell is like one of the guys they want, even though they didn't go get him 2 seasons ago. Like they clearly still want him. It's unfortunate that the Suns didn't completely combust because like Devin Booker is the guy that I really would want for that spot. But regardless, I don't know. I don't want to touch anyone on the team, even more so than I didn't before when they traded all the young guys away this past year. Like even more now, I just don't want to touch this team, which is probably stupid of me, but I don't know. So I'm very torn. I think probably this current setup. The thing is, you're losing DiVincenzo. Like you're probably losing Dante DiVincenzo in that deal because you got to trade some salary back, and I think it's going to be him that goes at least as part of it. Obviously, Bogdanovich will have to go too, but I don't know. I'm just kind of rambling, but I just can't come to a conclusion. Obviously, Mitchell's great, and it would be a good fit actually now, but I just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's my biggest issue is that unfortunately, like so I guess it's like, is there a world where you can get out of that deal with not like displacing or trading any of the Nova guys? Because
I don't know how.
I just don't think they're gonna do that now.
No, I
Like
don't either.
I
Yeah,
I think maybe you could like if Cleveland was willing to just move Mitchell more or less for draft picks, then you could be like, all right, like Bogdanovich and Mitch, I think would get you there as far as enough salary, or get you damn close. And
I'm just laughing about the idea of Mitch being on that. I mean, he'd have to be routed somewhere else because you can't put Mitch on that team with Jared Allen and Evan
yeah,
Mobley.
yeah. I mean, unless you just
There'd
want
have
to
to be a
do
third
the
team
like
involved. Yeah,
do the Tibbs basically, and just be like, oh, I'm gonna just spell Jared Allen with Mitchell
yeah,
Robinson at all
yeah,
times.
yeah.
Um, so that way you always have that like rim protection presence there. But like the Knicks are the only team that like values that in the entire NBA, I feel
Right.
like.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of the mind at this point that I probably would pass on Mitchell at this point, just in as a theory, even. Because I think that at this point I would be looking more towards like an Embiid or something, or a player of that caliber. And unfortunately, like for a deal like that, you're probably trading Julius Randle. And I think that the idea would be just upgrade Randle to an even better player, like an MVP caliber player that can then, get you over the hump to be like a title team. Now, is that Embiid? I don't know for sure. Like, I guess we're about to maybe see firsthand just how ready he is to like potentially be a high level playoff contributor, which he kind of never has been in his career, which is a knock on Randall too, which unfortunately Randall's been robbed by injuries the last 2 years and not been given a real chance to kind of redeem himself for that first foray into the playoffs. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's sort of where my mind's at now as far as potential like star trades. Because otherwise, this team as constructed with OG, with the Nova guys, with Randall is like, and like Hartenstein is so good already. Like they're already the 2 seed, even without Randall for like part of the season, like probably like almost half the season. And so if you're already that good, like why are you like what's the point of blowing up part of that core that works so well together and like are all friends and everything else to go
Yeah.
after like Donovan Mitchell, when the team's already a 2 seed? Like you kind of just have to make the all in move at that point, I think.
If you put Randall on this team, I think people would be like a lot of people would be picking them to make the finals if you just
Oh,
like stuck Randall back on this team. Because how many people have we seen say, "Oh, now that Randall's not here, the Celtics have no competition." Like everyone, the assumption for like most people is that the Knicks would have been like a serious problem for the Celtics if Randall were healthy. I still think they can beat the Celtics without Randall, but like obviously it'd be a lot tougher. I just don't know. So for the second part of the question, wait for a better player. Like I kind of wonder if that player is. We assumed it wasn't going to be, but it might be Giannis again. Like the Bucks stink. They're bad. I know they won 49 games, but you know what I mean. Like Lillard is clearly just not. Everyone kind of was like, "Oh, he's going to be good again." Now he's on a good team. He's not. He's still bad. And Giannis like is probably going to get pissed again. It might mean waiting another 2 years, but like that's the only. I don't want to touch Randall either, honestly. But if it's for Giannis, I'm certainly trading Randall for Giannis.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the sort of trade that I would be looking for if I was the Knicks. And anything short
Yeah.
of that, it's like just keep building with what you're building.
Yeah.
Draft a couple new players this year, like actually use your first round picks, get some guys for like the end of the bench, like like the Jericho Sims general spot on the
Yeah.
roster. You know what I mean? Like look to upgrade those with some rookies and, let those guys come along slow and whatever. And hopefully develop some new contributors sort of like the Warriors do and whatever. But,
Yeah.
other than that, like just keep cooking with this team, until you get that opportunity to then maybe move some of those young players. Plus, like if it's Julius Randle, if you can pull it off with just some young guys, plus like the large chunks of salary on the team,
Yeah.
like Mitch and Bogdanovich, then cool. But just kind of hold out for a bigger trade like that. I think that's the move at this point.
Do
Because again,
you
yeah.
do you think we can save a more in-depth discussion of this for the offseason, but like do you think Mitch is gone?
Not necessarily. I mean, I guess it depends on how much money they're about to pump into Precious and if they value him enough to keep him and all that stuff. But
Well,
I do think
Hartenstein
that,
is, I think, the bigger, like, I mean, obviously they have a upper limit on what they can pay Hartenstein, but I'm just curious if they're going to say we can't really afford to pay, $18 million to each of Hartenstein and Robinson.
I do think that there's a case to be made that like the I guess like the worries over finances and stuff will be in the past this coming off season, because you're just going to understand that you're going to be
Oh, yeah, they'll
operating
just
as an
way
over the
over.
cap.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like you're going to be an over the cap team, and sooner than later you're going to be a luxury tax team. And I think
I
they
just don't.
managed to.
I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just say I think they managed to stave off the luxury tax this year by like a couple $100,000.
Yeah.
Like they were like just under the threshold, so they won't have to have that kick in until next year. But then I think once they go all in on that and, are like, oh, we're over the luxury tax now, I think all bets are going to be off and they're just going to be like, we'll spend what money we have to. We'll even ink some guys to some slightly bigger contracts, even potentially to have more salary chunks when we want to make that big, huge star trade. If they don't do it over this offseason. So I think that's going to be their thought process after this year. So like just from a pure salary perspective, I don't know if they'll feel like motivated to move Mitch just for that reason. It would have to be like, well, I think it would just be like he would be included in a trade to be like, well, this is going to make the team better. Like, I don't think they would trade him just to be like, now we're done with you now. Because I think Tibbs actually values having Hartenstein and Mitch out there for 48 minutes total every single game. So, yeah, I don't think they would like look to move him just for that reason.
To your point about the bigger contracts too, like once they go into the tax, they have to match within $100,000, which is very tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like you don't get that 25% buffer anymore.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm very curious to see what the teams will look like next year, but that's a question for later because luckily we got the playoffs to look forward to. Anyway.
Yep. Yeah. There's still plenty to watch, which brings up what we watched unfold today. So Schwinn wants to know, isn't there an argument that having home court for 2 series has a higher probability for the Knicks to get to the ECF than tanking to avoid a perceived worse matchup versus Philly or Miami? And I've been thinking about this one a lot. First off, I'm not even afraid of Philly. The Knicks owned them this year. Like it was not
with Embiid
particularly
playing. Embiid played. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
He played 2 of them. He played the
2 of
first
them. Right.
2
He missed one of them. Yeah. He missed one of them. Yeah.
I think he missed the second 2. He played the first 2 and then he missed the second 2 because the
there were 4. That's right. I forgot they played them 4 times. Yeah.
Because the second 2 matchups were the ones when both teams were pretty well hurt.
Yeah.
And the Knicks, the one was the one where the Knicks scored like 70 points or whatever.
Right.
And then the next game was the one where they scored like 100 and the Sixers still scored under 80.
Yeah.
So, and that was their only loss to them was the game when the Knicks just like forgot how to shoot.
Right. When the Knicks scored like 70 points. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like their worst game of the last like 10 years. So I think we could safely kind of write that one off and assume that's probably not going to happen again. But yeah, Miami too. Like I'm not as scared of this year. They're not going to have like a round to ramp up and get, in fighting shape like last year when they did against the Bucks in the first round, where they ran into the Bucks and just like steamrolled them, and then were rolling in like totally on fire against the Knicks, which the Knicks were on fire too. So I guess there could be the argument to be made. It was both of them were kind of gassed up.
Yeah, but like the Heat, I don't even think the Heat like barely outplayed the Knicks in that series. To be honest, it's just like every little thing when the Heat sway because that's how it always fucking goes, which is what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, I'm not. I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, the Pacers," whatever. But like, I don't know. I didn't really want to face the Pacers either. Like, they're annoying. They score like, I mean, they're scoring like 150 in regulation right now, and I know that's not going to hold up in the playoffs, but like, that's a really deadly offensive team. Like, I think there's a decent chance they might upset the Bucks, and potentially the Knicks have to face them in the second round. Because I just don't know if the Bucks have that. Like, especially if Giannis isn't healthy right away. But whereas I think having home court for the first 2 rounds at MSG is like really, really big for this team. So I don't know. I definitely like the home court for the first 2 rounds, and I also like. I don't know. I liked it that this team just wanted to win this game and want to win every game. Like that makes me feel better as a fan anyway. And having that sort of mindset going into the playoffs, I think is more valuable than like tanking a game to get a particular matchup you want or whatever.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I was saying all day in the game thread that I really think like, I mean, it's superstitious. Yeah. But like, I don't like the Cavs and the Bucks both like being cowards and trying to duck the matchup with the Sixers. I think it's going to come back to bite them. Like the Magic, honestly, are pretty similar to last year's Knicks and might just beat the Cavs in the same way the Knicks did, which would be very funny. Especially because like the Cavs, especially like clearly maneuvered to play the Magic because once they saw the Bucks were losing, they easily could have turned it on and won their game, and then they'd be the 3 seed playing the Pacers. And instead, they decided to duck both the Sixers and the Pacers because they want to play the Magic, which that is a lot of maneuvering to then face the Celtics in the second round, which seems pretty fucking stupid. But anyway, we can get back to that later. We have a question about that. So my point is I don't like messing around and saying I'd rather play the Pacers, and because then look how we're going to feel if the Knicks lost that series to the Pacers, which they definitely could. The Knicks honestly did not play that well against Pacers every time they played them. I think the Knicks are a lot better than they are, but I don't know if it's the way they run their offense or whatever, but the Knicks never played well against the Pacers this year. Even the new version of the Knicks didn't play well against the Pacers. So they also faced them multiple times when they were wildly injured. But it's still I don't know. I don't want to mess around with that. Obviously, I'm scared of Miami just because they're Miami. I'm not really scared of the Sixers for the same reasons you said. And I think, that extra home game against the Bucks or the Pacers, I mean, they would have had it against the Pacers either way. But that extra home game against the Bucks is, I think, more important than having a full series against the Pacers or a full series against the Sixers.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I think no matter what, you're going to have to face good teams no matter what in the playoffs this year. I think there's more parity in the league right now than we've ever seen since ever. I don't know. This might actually be the most parity in the history of the NBA right now. Just the amount of talent up and down, in the playoffs right now. And the fact that out West, you had every single team that even made the play in, I think had a winning record, which is crazy.
Not just a winning record, but I think the Warriors were 45 wins, right? So every team that made the playoffs had at least 45 wins in the West, which
I guess also speaks to just how poor the bottom end of teams are in the NBA right now too. That there are this many teams with winning records up top, that those teams down there are that bad down at the bottom of the standings right now.
The only team that didn't make the playoffs that had a not horrible record is the Rockets. Every other team that missed the playoffs had a horrible record.
Yeah, exactly. Horrible.
Yeah. Even the Hawks made the playoffs and had a horrible record. So
they were 10 games under 500.
Yeah, they were not good. Yeah. If I'm the Rockets, honestly, I'm pretty pissed because 41-41 and you missed the last by 5 games, but you would have been the 9 seed in the East. That's tough, but that's how it goes.
That's just why it's how conferences work, I guess.
Yeah.
We sort of started answering this already, so let's just go ahead and do it now. So this also might be sort of irrelevant by the time that we actually release this episode. But we'll still answer it now because we're recording this on Sunday, and then I'll be recording the part with Zach later this week. But Zan Rosen wants to know, would you rather play Philly or Miami in round 1? We sort of already started giving our answers on that during that last question. So just succinct answer. Which one do you want and why?
Yeah. Philly. Yeah, for sure. I just don't want to fuck around with Miami, honestly.
Yeah. I want Miami in a way for the revenge aspect, and I want to beat them. But as far as which team scares me less, it's Philly, because the Knicks are uniquely equipped to deal with Joel Embiid, and they have a guy on their team in Mitch that Joel Embiid, I think it's one of the few people that Embiid actually sort of fears in the league.
Yeah.
Mitch just always has his number, and Hartenstein has done well on him too. They just have so much pressure to throw at Embiid. And then you have an OG Anunoby on your team that you can throw on Tyrese Maxey if you have to, or you can just have OG make Tobias Harris or Kelly Oubre or whoever a complete moot point.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to put hard on Maxey, right? And then have OG just lock down 3 other people at the same time.
And just have OG play the passing lanes along with DiVincenzo.
Yeah, OG and Nante will just steal every pocket pass.
Yeah, exactly. Even Brunson. I mean, Brunson's gotten
Brunson does it too. Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'd rather Philly. I just think the Knicks are better equipped to deal with them than they are with Miami. And Miami is just so annoying. I want them on the other side of the bracket. And
I don't want to deal with them. Yeah.
Make them have to beat the Celtics and then beat the Cavs or the Magic or whatever, and then get their way, potentially to the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals if the Knicks make it that far.
So also Embiid like is not fully healthy, they
Yeah.
might just not even have to deal with him. In which case, like obviously the Sixers. I would rather play the Sixers than the Pacers in that case. Like if there's no Embiid, the Sixers shoot up to the top of teams I don't want to face. So we don't know if
Yeah.
he's going to be at full strength. We don't know if he's going to play at all. Like it's fine. I don't mind Philly.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm good with it. All right. Let's move to our next question. This comes to us from ZMP323, Miami's biggest hater. I guess I know who his choices for the first round. Wants to know, give me your best Jalen Brunson MVP pitches. Yeah, go for it. I feel like these are always best when they're kind of short. So like,
I think it's pretty simple, right?
yeah,
Like the Knicks are missing their second best player. They were missing their best defender for a while. They're also missing, Mitchell Robinson, who actually might be their best defender for a while. Like the point is, they're down OG for a while. They're down Mitch for a while. Hartenstein was in and out. Randall's gone. And they won 50 games, all on the back of Jalen Brunson. I think that's the answer, right?
yeah. Yeah, I think that's it for me too. Like he's done the most with the least help. And I know that like sometimes the award just boils down to like best stats on like the best combo of best stats and best team that you can come up with, like so a guy who has, the nonsensical stats on a top 3 team, usually that's your MVP. And typically it's like your 1 or 2 seed, like
Right.
it's typically one of the top, 2 seeds in either conference. That's where you're going to find the MVP. And so, I guess like from that perspective, you can make a really good case also for like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander or for Jokic. Like there's good case to be made for the other candidates as well. But I just think like those teams have so much more help on them, like especially from an offensive load carrying perspective. Like Jokic still has Jamal Murray, and like SGA has Chet, and he has Jalen Williams, like who are both like 20-point per game scorers. Maybe Chet's not quite there yet, but like he can be on any given night. The Celtics obviously like Tatum, could be a candidate, but that's like the most stacked team in the league, and they probably would have won, instead of 63 or 64 or whatever wins, they would have won like, I don't know, 57 without him probably. Like they're still just an insanely stacked team. If you just traded him out for like a replacement level player, like they would have still been fine. So yeah, I just think that's it for Brunson. Like if you take Brunson off the Knicks this year, like even with Randall on the team, or if everything else went the same and you just didn't have Jalen Brunson, and so like you add Randall, but he still got hurt halfway through the year or whatever, like the Knicks probably won like, I don't know, 30 games this year instead of 50. I think he legitimately made that big of a difference for them this year. And so for that reason, I think he should be MVP. Also just narratively, it works. I don't know. I mean, I know it's like a narrative award too, but guy signs here, the signing gets panned by tons of people, tons of idiots, that think it's not going to work out. Now he's considered one of the most like underpaid players in the entire NBA, making like 25 million a season, doing what he's doing. And he just continually game to game, night to night, gets better and better, does it on bigger and bigger stages. He got better as the season went on. I don't know. I think he deserves it. He stepped up in the most important moments and was the most important player to his team in the most important time. So that's why I think he should be MVP.
Why don't you ask Kobe White? Ask Kobe White who he thinks should be the MVP. I bet he would tell you Jalen Brunson.
Probably.
Yeah.
Although Kobe White was the MVP of the of that game for the Bulls today.
He was, but I'm just saying, like he, the other day had that quote where he was like, "Brunson's a motherfucker. Like I just can't deal with him." Like
I actually didn't see that quote. Strangely, that evaded me.
Oh yeah. After because they played the Bulls 14 times in the last 2 weeks, so like they just had to deal with him over and over again.
Yeah. Well, Jalen Brunson is a motherfucker, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Good kind of motherfucker though. All right. Let's move to our next question. Rank your interest in all the currently known playoff matchups. So I mean that's all of them now. I think they're all set.
Well, I guess he's saying like the
other than the
8, and 7 versus 2 aren't
so
actually
NBA playoff field, because I actually just don't know the West one off the top of my head now.
Neither do I. I'm
okay. Shams had it right here. So it is. So let's just
it's OKC versus play-in. We can, I
Yeah,
guess,
so
skip that.
OKC versus either the Lakers or the Pelicans.
Lakers,
Or no, I'm
Pelicans,
sorry,
Kings,
versus
or Warriors. They can play any of the four.
I think it's
Yeah,
very likely that they end up against one of the Pelicans, Kings, or Warriors.
yeah,
Because
the
I think the
Lakers are going
Lakers,
to win that game.
yeah.
The Pelicans have been playing like shit lately.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, and also I don't think the Pelicans are making it out, even though they're the 7th seed. I think it's gonna be the Warriors or Kings. But that either
Honestly,
way,
it's
that's interesting to me.
do
That's an
you think
interesting series.
did they like punt today because they already had the 7 seed locked up and they were going to be facing the Lakers again in a few days, so they didn't want to like show them in their sets? That's the only
Maybe.
thing I can think because like they got killed. That's the only thing I can
Yeah.
think.
It was really bad.
Um,
Yeah, I was
yeah,
watching some of that game and then I turned it off because I was like, this sucks. This game's
yeah,
terrible.
yeah. I think it's kind of hard to bet against Golden State, right? I mean, Sacramento's good too.
Yeah.
God, the West has so many good teams. This is crazy. These four teams
Yeah.
are.
I mean, either way, both those I actually think the most interesting matchups out west to me are the 1-8 and the 2-7, whatever they end up being. Just
Yeah,
because I'm really curious to see if we're gonna have a 8-1 or 7-2 upset.
I want to see
And I
Denver Lakers again. That was a fun
Yeah,
matchup.
like Denver and the
Yeah,
Lakers is a
yeah,
nasty series for
yeah,
Denver if they have
yeah.
to deal with that.
Honestly,
But
every matchup looks pretty good. Like Clippers Dallas is going to be interesting.
yeah.
Um, I don't care that much about Minnesota Phoenix to be honest, but
Yeah,
the
because
rest
I
of
don't
them
think
all.
either of those teams are going anywhere. Like one of them
No,
will
they're
make
both
the second round,
whichever
obviously,
team.
but I don't think any of them. I don't think either of those teams is a candidate to make the conference finals.
Yeah, I think whichever, like assuming Denver beats the Lakers or the Pelicans, I just think whichever team wins that 3-6 matchup is going to get just smacked by the Nuggets. So it's not going
Yeah.
to really matter.
So, all right, if you were going to rank the 4 prospective or just the 4 matchups, just based off the information that we know right now, what would you say? Like most interested to least interested? Would you say for
I
the
would
series?
say Denver versus Pelicans or Lakers 1. Um, although less so if it's the Pelicans, but I think it's
Yeah,
going to be the
definitely more
Lakers.
if it's the Lakers. That's my most
Yeah, but I think
interesting
it's going
one.
to be the
If it's the
Lakers.
Lakers,
So yeah, yeah. If it's the Pelicans, I'd probably move them down. But let's just
yeah,
say I'm assuming it's the Lakers. So Denver versus the Lakers 1. Then just because like I'd have Clippers Dallas 2, just because OKC could like again the Pelicans like I don't fucking care about them. OKC has to face the Pelicans like that. I'm not interested. So Clippers Dallas 2. If it's OKC versus Golden State or Sacramento or the like any of those other teams would be interesting to me. So that's a close 2-3 between Clippers Dallas and OKC and whoever they face. And then again, Minnesota Phoenix, we talked about that. Like, I don't think either of those teams is going to win the second round matchup. So I just don't care.
yeah, yeah. I think I'm locked up with you. Yeah, I'm going. I think Nuggets versus Lakers, as long as that's what it ends up being, which I think it will. That's my
Mm-hmm.
number one, and then Clips Mavericks, then Thunder versus hopefully the Warriors or Kings, because yeah, again, the Pelicans are
Yeah,
just
I don't want to see
thoroughly
the Pelicans.
uninteresting to me.
Yeah.
And then Wolves Suns last. That just doesn't really move me.
Yeah.
Let's take the Knicks out of the equation because obviously we're most interested in that
Yeah.
series.
That's my number 4. I'm not interested.
Yeah, but Celtics versus Heat or Sixers, Bucks versus Pacers, and Cavs Magic. How would you rank those ones?
I would go Cavs Magic first
Interesting. That's
because I really think that the Cavs are going to regret setting themselves up to play the Magic. I know it could be like it could honestly go either way last year's series. Like it could be like Cleveland went through this with the Knicks already, and the Magic are going to be the ones saying, oh, the lights were too bright, Jared Allen style. Or it could be that the Cavs are going to run into a bigger team again that just like totally dominates them on the glass again and embarrasses them again, which will be great. So either result would be interesting because, but obviously both those teams are going to get just smacked by Boston in the second round. So that kind of dampens the impact a little bit. But I still think if we're taking the Knicks side of the equation, that's the one I'm most excited to see. And then I would go Milwaukee, Indiana, because I just don't know. Like, is Giannis going to be at full health in the first round? The Pacers annoy me, so I don't really want to watch them that much. But obviously, it's a better matchup. Like Boston versus any of the 4 play-in teams is not going to be interesting. So that's obviously the last one for me.
I disagree. I think Boston versus the Heat would be pretty interesting.
Interesting. Okay.
just
I do
because the
not,
Heat
but
always seem to have their number. Like
yeah, I just think Boston's too good this time.
they probably are, but I think that it could turn into like a 6-game series, which would be fun. Um, yeah, I'm gonna flip flop. Actually, I'm gonna flip flop quite a bit. I I guess I'm actually doing almost a complete
Yeah,
reorder
go for
here.
it.
Or no, it is a
Yeah.
complete reorder. I'm
Yeah.
doing Bucks Pacers number one
Okay.
because that just interests me for some reason. And we were already talking about like possibly that's what's gonna finally push Giannis over the edge. Although
And
if he
also,
doesn't
that's
play,
obviously the team that plays the Knicks in the second round, so it does
yeah,
matter.
yeah. So that's interesting to me. I also just think it'll be a fun series, especially if the Bucks get smacked in that series. That'll be kind of fun. Even if I don't like the Pacers. Um, then I think Celtics versus Heat, if that's what it ends up being, or Celtics Sixers. Like I just want to see if they're fallible. I want to see if they look like they could be beat by an 8 seed. Even if it's not, both those teams I don't think are your typical 8 seed.
So the thing is, like, if it's Celtics Sixers, I'm gonna be just mad because that means it's Knicks Heat probably, and like I'm just gonna
well,
be
it definitely
unhappy.
means Knicks
So,
Heat then. Yeah.
well, it could be something weird could have happened. Oh no, it
No,
can't. Right?
no.
Yeah, yeah, no, it can't. Yeah.
That guarantees it if it's
So
Knicks Heat.
if it's
Yeah.
Celtics Sixers, it's Knicks Heat, and I'm just gonna be mad. So I don't want
Yeah.
to see that, honestly.
And then I've
And
got Cavs
Celtics
Magic
Bulls or
last.
Celtics Hawks is like, who
Yeah.
cares? Like that's gonna be a
Yeah,
sweep.
exactly. Like that's forget about
Yeah,
it. Like
yeah,
if the Bulls or the Hawks somehow make it, it's like okay, that's a nice little sweep for the
yeah,
Celtics to start things
yeah.
off. There's no way. Um, and then I've got Cavs Magic last. I don't know. I guess I have no interest in watching the Cavs anymore. Watching their downfall would be fun if they get
That's
beat
what I'm
again.
saying. I think it's gonna
So
happen.
that part would be fun. I also do
Yeah.
kind of like the Magic, like just in a vacuum. Um, but yeah, it's for whatever reason that one's just the one that's moving me least out of all those matchups. Maybe just because I just want to see the metal of the other top teams more than I care about the 4-5. I think that's the most interesting to me as like a Knicks fan.
I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get that.
Which actually brings me to another question from ZMP323 who wants to know thoughts on Cleveland's cowardice today. Essentially fixing their game so that they could face the Magic in the first round. What do you think about that?
I mean, I've kind of said my piece on this multiple times already. I feel like every time Cleveland comes up, I complain about them doing this on this pod.
Mhm.
But just to kind of piece it all together, the fact that they knew the Bucks were getting killed by the Magic while their game was still close, and they just gave up anyway, is so embarrassing.
Mhm.
Like how? Okay, you know what? It's kind of one thing. Clearly, the Bucks and the Cavs both decided they know the Knicks. They know the Knicks are going to not punt. So the Bucks and the Cavs are both like they can have the Sixers. If they're going to be that way, they can have the Sixers. And you know what? I kind of get it. Obviously, I'm glad the Knicks did not punt today, and I don't think they should have. And I think I think the Bucks and Cavs are stupid for doing it. But I kind of get that. But then if you're the Cavs, to have the opportunity to be the 3 seed and avoid the Celtics and also punt that and just say, forget it, we'd rather play the Magic than the fucking Pacers is embarrassing. That is so embarrassing to me.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like I also I don't know. I'll just say it's cowardly too in the sense of I feel like it just sets you up bad. You know, like it just I can't imagine that's good for like the players, you know? Like I just think about right after the Knicks one today, they like did the interview with Dante and like he immediately was like because you know Rebecca Harlow was like, "What does this game mean to you today?" He's like, "50 wins means something. Like this game meant something to us. Like we wanted to get the 50 wins. We wanted to get the 2 seed. Like we don't care about the matchup." You know, it's implied that he was like, "We don't care about who we're facing.
Yeah.
We just want to prove that
Yeah.
we're the best."
Right.
And like I like that mindset so much more than like trying to essentially point shave to, you know, get yourself in position to face some team or another. I think that also just sets you up where like if that team like you're gassing that team up now too in your own special way because now that team is coming in saying, "Oh, they wanted us. Well, they'll freaking get us." You know, like we're going to kick their ass now because they specifically wanted to play us.
That's what I'm
Um
saying. Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
I think there's a lot of things you set yourself up for with that. Whereas otherwise, like you're not presenting. I mean, look, I know this only means so much, but like you're not presenting yourself to your opponents then as like a threat. Like presenting yourself as like, oh, I just, we want it the easiest way possible, and we think that's you. And then it's like, well, you think it's easy, it's not easy. Like, and you
The
just
Magic are going
set
to be
yourself
talking
up.
about that all week. You
Yeah.
know they're going to have that all week. They're going to be
Oh,
their
yeah.
coach to be reminding them that the Cavs lost on purpose so they could play them.
Yeah, exactly. And they're gonna be
All week.
super fired up.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna want
Yeah.
to take them down big time, just
Yeah.
like the Knicks did last year. It's gonna be the same sort of mindset where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, people think they're good, they think they're a sleeper,
Yeah.
whatever team, this, that, the other. Like, screw that. We're gonna like destroy them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Quick side
Let's
note before we move on. Sorry,
yes.
one quick thing before we move on.
Mhm.
The Bulls are going to win that match against the Hawks for like 30. I mean, it's also
Oh, yeah.
embarrassing that the Hawks did not try today. And
Yeah.
as much as it was annoying during the game, the Bulls were trying so hard. Like, good for them. They had nothing
Yeah.
to play for, and
Yeah.
they were like, "Fuck this! We're not going to let the Knicks take the 2 seed easy." And
Yeah.
it's impressive. So good for them. I don't think they're going to beat the Sixers or the Heat in that 8-9 game, but they're gonna destroy the Hawks on Wednesday.
Yeah. All right, let's move to our next question. It comes to us from Villain X, who wants to know, aside from Jalen Brunson, All NBA first team and MVP top 5, I'm a little confused by the phrasing of this, but I'm going to infer what I think Villain X means here. What other non-Strickland awards should the Knicks be in contention for? So I didn't know we gave out awards, but maybe we should. But I assume this just means like, what other awards should other Knicks be in contention for this year? Certain guys are not eligible. I don't believe Anunoby is eligible for any awards because of his time
Hartenstein's
missed.
not either.
Hartenstein isn't either. Oh, did Hartenstein miss the cut?
Yeah, because he just didn't start enough games, so he didn't play enough minutes.
Oh, I didn't realize that. I thought it was just the games played thing.
There's some
I didn't
kind of
realize.
there's something I read about it the other day that someone was complaining about Hartenstein not being eligible for all defense because he didn't play enough minutes.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Well, I made a big case for him on Locked On Knicks about that the other day, so I guess I'm a big
maybe
idiot.
I'm wrong, but I remembered seeing a tweet about it, and like nobody was like, "That's not true." So
yeah, you're probably correct. I think
yeah.
because it used to be minutes played more so the
I
games
think it's
played.
both now. I think it's
And it used to be less punitive, and now it's more punitive. So
right.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So yeah, you got to take Hartenstein out, I guess. Julius can't make any.
Yeah, I don't know who's left. I mean, Brunson, All NBA first team, yes. MVP, yes. Like most improved, I would say.
I was
Brunson
gonna say,
deserves, yeah.
I think DiVincenzo deserves
that's
some
a good
love
call.
for most improved.
Yeah.
Like he improved his points per game by like 5 this year. He shot his best percentage from 3 of his career on higher volume than he's ever shot in his career. Had all those games where he had to be like the number 1 scoring option and managed to do that, which I think counts for something.
Mm-hmm.
And then set the Knicks, franchise 3-point record, single game and for a single season. So I don't know. I think the accolades stack up enough that he should get like an actual look. Like he probably won't win it because probably like Tyrese Maxey will win it or something like that. But like he should definitely get a look because he stepped his shit up in a big way.
Yeah. I don't really think he deserves it, but just based on the question, I think there's a case you can make for hardest 6 man. If you're defining it the way it should be defined and not the stupid way they defined it last year to make sure they quickly couldn't win. Like Hart came into the lineup due to injury, like a 6th man would, because when you're missing somebody, obviously your 6th man would start. Otherwise, he's not your fucking 6th man. Malcolm Brogdon was actually the Celtics' 7th man, which is why he never started. Anyway, and he like triple-double machine Josh Hart. I don't think he deserves it, but I think like you could argue that he deserves a look.
Yeah, I was actually going to say that too. I think, if you're, but I do think that compared to like Quickly, where Quickly started so few games, but then people with him made the case that like because of his stats and games he started were so gaudy that like then they shouldn't count towards his stats for coming off the bench or whatever. Yeah, but like he didn't start that many games. Like I think he only started like 15, 20 games.
No, I mean Brunson missed like 20 games in the middle of the season. Those were the only games he started.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think for Hart this year though, didn't he like start almost half the games this year?
Probably close to half because Randall. I mean, he started every game after Randall got injured. That's just so. How many has it been since then?
Let's see here. Josh Hart. Yeah, he started over half the games he played. So
So he's not
he
even
played in
eligible.
80, started 41. So I
Yeah,
that
he's not.
is to the point where then
Yeah.
I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't think you really qualify
I
for that.
don't think he's eligible anymore. I think if you start more than half the games, you're not eligible, right? Don't
Yeah, I don't
16
know. I
roughly
don't know what the
start and zero and
criteria is
half
for
the
there,
games,
but even
something
if
like
there
that?
was no criteria and we could just like
Yeah.
make it, or no, actually, sorry. After today, he started 42 and he played in 81 because Basketball References have
Yeah.
updated.
Right. What game
So,
did he miss? I don't even remember Hart missing a game all year.
wasn't it? I'm trying to think. He had like, didn't he like twist his ankle and miss like one game? I'm trying to remember exactly. There's an easy way to find this out. I'm clicking on his game log. We'll see which one. Knicks Washington on January 18th. He was
Yeah,
inactive.
sure. All right.
And that game the game against Houston, the game before, yeah, he like twisted his ankle or something. I remember
I
that.
kind of vaguely remember that. And then, of course, he technically only played in 80 games because he also got ejected from one right at the beginning.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, so he played in
that
81,
counts
but
as
yeah,
a
he
game
got
played. But yeah,
ejected so early in that one game that
yeah.
it barely feels like he played. So yeah. All right, let's move to our next question here. Well, not really a question so much as I guess just a statement. Mimi8376 says Tibbs should be top 3 in coach of the year voting. So I will add a question at the end. Agree or disagree? What do you think?
He won't, and it's fine. But agree, this is a much better coaching job than he did when he actually won it a few years ago.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think
I mean,
that's
he's
kind
shown
of
so
the
much
simple
growth
answer.
the
Yeah.
last like 2 years. Like this year, throwing out a starting lineup with like 3.5 guards in it is crazy. I never in a million years would have thought we would have seen that out of Tibbs. Like to have a starting lineup of Brunson, Deuce,
Yeah.
Dante, Hart, and Hartenstein.
That is a small lineup. Yeah.
A very small lineup. Like I never
Yeah.
thought we would see the day that would happen. And even the lineup that he has out now, I didn't really think that he would ever do.
Yeah. The fact that he's
Like,
not starting Precious, which thank God he's not starting
yeah,
Precious, but like, yeah, going with Hart and OG as 3 and 4 is like still pretty small.
yeah. Like if this was like 20 to 21, he would have been starting Precious.
Oh, for
Like
sure. Yeah. Yeah. Hart
for
would have
sure.
been coming off the bench. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, to think that we're talking about the guy that the year that he won that award, he started Alfred Payton for an entire season, uh, just
I
on the
can't believe
basis
we
of being
sat through
starter.
that. Oh my God. How the fuck did we get through that season with him starting Alfred Payton every game?
And as the 4 seed, no less.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. That was
just
a weird
crazy.
year. That was a weird year.
So, I mean, the fact that got through that year and everything, and he won Coach of the Year that year, and then how much better he's gotten these past 2 years. I mean, so fun story. I have like they used to have us do like YouTube shorts for Locked On. After games, they would want us to do like an instant reaction little thing or whatever. And I made one that pops up every once in a while that was like, and I've left it up because I'm like, I'm not a coward. I'll leave it up for forever. But it was like 2 years ago, and it was one of the later in the season games, and I was like, it's time to fire Tibbs. Like he's lost
Yeah.
this locker room. He's
Yeah.
like so rigid and not willing to like change anything. And like he's starting Alec Burks at point guard instead of Emmanuel Quickly, and like he just
Oh my
makes all these idiotic decisions all the time. And would just have these rigid roles and like the hockey shift substitutions and everything else. And there were so many things that were so frustrating about being a fan of a team that he was coaching at that particular moment in time. And then to see how different he's become as a coach these last 2 years is honestly
God. Yeah.
like one of the greatest like late career turnarounds in sports, I think, ever. Like the fact that the rigid coach has turned into like
Yeah.
He's been revolutionary. I mean, he's actually instituted some things with regards to like thinking about the game through rebounding and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think he's actually helped reshape the NBA landscape the last couple of years a little bit, just by some of the things he's figured out coaching, which is crazy.
Yeah. Just prioritizing offensive rebounding is like people were talking about it last season, how teams were going to like try to copy that this year. And they definitely have. Like, I mean, the Knicks are still the best at it, but like no, you're totally right. One quick thing, this is going to like be throwing a firebomb into the for whoever listens to this into the discourse. But I mean, it was just Quickly. He just did not think. I think part of this is he didn't think. I'm not saying he was right. I don't think he was, but he just didn't think Quickly was good enough. Deuce, he had no problem playing Deuce next to Brunson. He didn't I don't get it. Deuce is smaller than Quickly, so I don't understand. But or at least shorter. I mean, he's bigger, probably. He's beefier. But he plays Deuce next to Brunson, no problem. Still, with everyone healthy, minus Randall, he plays Deuce next to Brunson occasionally, not as much, and he probably won't all in the playoffs. But it's just Quickly. He didn't it's not a young player thing. Toppin, we all know that Toppin had his faults that we ignored because he was on the team. Grimes, certainly was very up and down. And, I think he probably didn't evaluate quickly properly, but I think it was a Quickly thing and not a young player thing because he has no problem playing Deuce big minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. And Quickly's killing it. So I'm glad that Quickly is finally having his moment away from the Knicks.
Everyone gets shit wrong occasionally, that doesn't mean it's annoying that Tibbs got it wrong with Quickly, but it happens. He just
doesn't make
didn't
him a bad
evaluate him properly. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think he should be pretty high in Coach of the Year voting too. I just think by precedent, he just won't get that much love because there was other coaches that
he wanted to.
That's not an award that people typically win that many times. If he becomes a 3-time Coach of the Year award winner, it's him and Popovich, and Phil Jackson, and
also they give it to coaches that however the fuck you say his name, Daniel or whatever, he's obviously going to win because nobody thought Thunder were going to be this good. So
exactly.
They always give it to coaches of teams that are better than you thought, even if it's not. I mean, I think Daniel is probably a good coach, but even if it's not the coach that did it, I don't really think it was actually Tibbs that did it that year. Tibbs kind of sucked the year he won, but it's just always going to be about the Knicks were supposed to be good this year and they were, so Tibbs was never going to win it, and that's just how it goes.
Yeah. All right, let's move to our next question, which is also from Villain X, who wants to know what are the best memories from for us of this season. So I'll throw out my first one. Brunson 61, I think has to be number one, even though it was in a loss. That was still crazy to watch.
I didn't watch that game, so I can't. Unfortunately, I did not see that game.
You know what one I missed was the Brunson 50 against Phoenix. I missed that one.
That game I did see. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
But
I will say, as amazing as the 61 probably was, the fact they fucking lost that game.
I know.
But they played such shit. It seems
the sting to me was lessened by the fact that Wemby had the game of his rookie season in it, to where it's if we think about this in the future, it's going to feel very much oh, well, yeah, that was when Wemby was becoming Wemby. So obviously,
it's just the Knicks aren't supposed to. The Knicks aren't supposed to allow guys like Wemby to have their best game of the season. I know, it happens.
Yeah, I don't think that anyone is going to have any say in when Wemby has good games.
No, I know. It's just if anyone could, it's Isaiah Hartenstein, and so it's a bummer that he didn't. But anyway, I think probably that first game with Anunoby. What was that? New Year's Day. That was just it was just because we were all so unsure about it, and what was a really good idea to trade quickly. We kind of knew this was going to happen, but for OG Anunoby, he's good, but he gets hurt a lot, and offensively, what's he going to bring? And then he was just he hit that first three, and it was just sigh of relief. And then the fact that they just, I don't know, it just was oh shit, no, they knew what they were doing. They unlocked a whole new level for this team by bringing him in.
So, that was going to be one for me too. That was high up there because it was just also the reaction among the fan base was so polarizing too that it was getting really exhausting to see
those 2 days were fucking annoying.
Yeah. Those few days prior to OG playing his first game, it was just oh my God, can we just see him on the court before everyone deems that this was a huge overpay by the Knicks or whatever. Let's just see him on the court and see how it works. And then he showed out that first game, and you're okay, yeah, I get it. I get this trade. This was a perfect fit.
And we don't always punch outside our group. I'll call Schwinn out. He had a fucking conniption. and about that
Mhm.
trade, and was like ready to like freak the. I mean, he wasn't even ready to freak out. He like freaked out, and I mean, to his credit, he immediately was like, "Oh, I was wrong." but
Mhm.
like those 2 days were tough because like it wasn't just Schwinn, but just I remember because like I talk to Schwinn all the time. He was like very, very, very mad,
Yeah.
and just getting that like vindication, and also like I remember watching that game and just being like, "Oh, they might be the best team in the NBA with
Yeah.
Anunoby."
Yeah. And then you got like a few more games and then you're like, oh yeah,
Right.
for real.
Yeah.
Like
You got a
big
whole
night.
month. You got a whole
Yeah.
month of it. Like
Yeah.
they had one bad game that month. It was that stupid game against the Magic. The
Mhm.
other game they lost against the Mavericks, I don't even think that was a bad game. They just like, well, you're not going to win every game, so they lost that one. The game against the
Yeah.
Magic was a bad game, but a whole month of them just being like, yeah, they might be the best team in the NBA
Mhm.
was pretty fun, and that was the beginning of that run.
Yeah, that January was fantastic. That was
Fucking
such a good run.
Jaime Jaquez, god damn it! Like,
Yeah,
ugh.
what a jackass. Um I'm trying to think other good things. The Dante 11 threes game was fun, especially because he got one taken away during that game, and then it started to
Yeah,
look like he maybe wasn't going to get the
yeah,
record, and then he still
yeah,
managed to
yeah.
get the record.
Yeah, I mean, I do you believe that that Malachi Flynn let him have it? I think he did.
Maybe a little bit, but
I think he let him have it. It's just it's the Pistons. Who cares? Like they were
yeah,
already losing. Like I think he let him have it.
yeah. I mean, he was also just shooting with like
Oh,
no
he was
regard.
taking every shot, but I think Flynn like let Dante get open so that he had one more shot at it.
Maybe a little bit, yeah, and maybe a little. I mean, he might have been like, "Hey, we're good version, evil version of the same
Yeah.
person." So
Well, there was a clip of them talking to each other right before, and I feel
oh,
like
right.
he was like, "Listen, just tell me what you're gonna do. I'll give you one chance to make it."
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I honestly would not be shocked. Like, who cares? Like, it's a fun
The Knicks
thing. Like, it's fun to break records. The Pistons were going nowhere. Like,
and
they
the
were
Knicks
friends
were
because they just
crushing
played
in that
together.
game anyway. Yeah,
Yeah,
the Knicks were crushing too. So
yeah.
yeah, maybe he did. I don't know. Either way, it was a
I think
fun
he did.
game.
I think he
That was
did.
a great
It
game.
doesn't make it any worse. I think it honestly makes it cooler if
Yeah,
like his opponent was like, "Yeah, I want to see you do this. Like, tell me what you're gonna do, and I'll make sure you get open."
yeah. And actually, it's even more hilarious because he would literally be being like, "Yeah, take the record from this bum I share this team with."
Yeah, right. Yeah, the guy, my teammate. Yeah. Well, honestly, it's so funny. That's the one game Evan Fournier played defense in his whole career. Is he's like, "Oh, I don't,
Yeah.
I don't want Dante to do
I don't
this."
want him to take my record. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Because
was great.
Fournier thinks that that should grant him,
Yeah,
like, legend status with the Knicks and that the fans
yeah,
should have loved him for the
that
whole
was funny.
time there because he set that record and shit.
Well, it
Ridiculous.
doesn't happen anymore.
Nope. He doesn't have any of the records. He's
Yeah,
wiped. He's good.
yeah,
We're no
yeah.
more
Right,
Evan Fournier.
or the
So,
season record. Yeah, he's out.
yep. So, all right, let's move to our next questions here. So this is where we get into sort of the nerdy meta sort of questions at this point. So first one came from Zach. Want to know, and this is very meta for people that are Patreon subscribers and they're in the Discord. So we did an
Zach
Emoji
Blatter,
Madness
not
tournament.
our Zach, not our Zach. Zach Blatter.
Not this Zach, yeah, Zach Blatter, other Zach, asked this question. But wanted to know, no question, but we demand all of your thoughts on Emoji Madness. So it was very contentious. There was a lot of heartbreak. I bet my house on well, let me do the second part of this question real
Yeah,
quick.
you should save that for the next question. Yeah.
Yeah, so well, no, I'll just say the second question too, so we can do it all at once.
Okay, that's fine.
Zan Rosen wants to know, more importantly than just our thoughts on the Emoji Madness, how does Alex justify supporting Windy Hee Hee, which is the Brian Windhorst emoji of him with doing the fingers thing, and that's why I support it. It's a great moment. It is a
It's a
great
good emoji.
emoji.
It's a good
It's
emoji.
it it's a fantastic emoji because you put it when you think someone's trying to sound smart or when you're trying to sound smart. You just be like, why is that? What's the connection here? It's like it's very and it's just such a funny face. Like he's just got such like a look on his face of like like what
Yeah,
does that
I know
mean?
it's a great thing. Yeah, that whoever I don't know if it was you or Zach or James who grabbed that specific screenshot, but they picked a really good one because he's making a great face.
James did. That was
Okay,
James. I'll give him credit
yeah,
where it's due.
yeah.
Um
The thing is, the rules about how people should vote obviously change with with each matchup just based on what you want to justify. So for like, yes, do I think Windy He is like one of our best emojis? Definitely, it's one of our best emojis. But in that matchup, he's up against Finch's Randall, and we have to support Big 30. We have to support Big 30. So you don't support Randall, and that's embarrassing. And you should be embarrassed. And I'm glad you lost your house. You know
Yeah,
what you
I
guys
don't know,
don't
man.
realize is Alex behind that little board behind him is just the woods. He's
Yeah,
he's potting from outside right now.
it's
Luckily,
just
it's
empty
warm today.
space now. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is all off my cell phone now, and I'm
Yeah.
outdoors. It's gonna take a lot of editing to get all this
His
background
wife
noise.
is holding up the board behind him, just so that it's
Yeah,
not
there's like
obvious.
some
But
squirrels like getting it on in a tree
yeah.
behind me. It's gonna take so much time to get that sound out of here.
um,
Um, yeah, no, I don't know. I just think, to me, I voted throughout the whole thing, not thinking of like what's a what's like the best Knicks one, or like, oh, I should vote the Knicks ones ahead or whatever, even though it's a Knicks server. My thought was like, what is just straight up the best emoji? Like like gives the is versatile, or like has a really good connotation behind it, or just like in general is just a really solid emoji. So like that's why I didn't like that the Clyde one beat
the wrong
Dolan
emoji
Shear.
won. You know, we agree
Yeah,
on this. I was going to make that comment. It's like so obvious. Dolan Shear is the best emoji we have. It is
it's the best one.
crazy.
Yeah,
It's like I don't even think it's a contest. I mean, the only other one that's in contention is Dolan Fat Face. I don't
yeah,
think anything else is in contention for the best emoji. Like
yeah.
Dolan Shear is so good. I
Dolan
love it
Shear
so
is
much.
so it's like anything that you would normally put like any form of a happy emoji on
Yeah,
instantly is better with Dolan Shear,
yeah,
because it's just him with his little stubby T-Rex arms. Like,
yeah. It's so funny.
it's just so
I
stupid.
like to imagine it like if somebody took the emoji and were flipping it back and forth, so it'd be like
Like, so it's dancing. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, it's just,
The thing
oh, it's
is,
so good.
James poisoned everyone by spending
Yeah.
the whole tournament talking about how the zoom in face emojis are always better. And that's just not true. That Clyde emoji is fine. It's fine. I like
It's
it.
just Clyde
It's fine.
smiling. It's just a normal
Yeah.
ass picture of
And we
Clyde.
got a
People don't
stupid
even
gold
use that
box around
emoji on
Clyde
things.
now. No, they don't. They
Yeah.
don't use that much. They don't use
People
that much.
people then were pretending that they use it all the time and using it all the
Yeah.
time in the
Yeah.
server, just to be
Yeah.
like, no, this is why Clyde should win, because
Yeah.
it's like we use
Dolan
it all the
Shear
time.
is
Like, no,
you can
nobody
use
uses
Dolan
Clyde.
Shear for fucking anything. Literally
Dolan
anything.
Shear, you can even use ironically.
Right, that's what
Like,
I'm saying. You could use it for something that's actually good or something that's bad. Like
yeah,
it's
because
great.
no matter what, it's James Dolan. So like,
You could use it for
yeah,
something that's sad, which would be
yeah,
like a little messed up, but like you could. Um, yeah, no, it's the thing. So, okay, my actual thoughts on the thing, like on the tournament, is it's the best thing we've ever done. Honestly, it
yeah.
was so
It,
fun.
it
It
was so
was
fun.
so fun. Everyone got super into it. It was great. We had like, I mean, we have like probably like 50 to 60 active Discord members.
Yeah.
We have a lot more people who are in the Discord, and if
Mhm.
you want to be one of them, you should join. But sign up for the
Patreon.com/Discord.
Patreon. But we have 50 to 60 like consistently active, and there were like 45 votes on every matchup. Like almost everybody participates. Pretty much, honestly, the only one I noticed who specifically didn't participate was Omar, which doesn't
Yeah.
surprise me at all. He
Yeah, which is really funny.
just totally ignored it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think the only other ones that I thought were like kind of atrocities. I thought MJ Devilface got hosed by Angry
No, fuck
Dolan.
that. No. You're so wrong about that.
MJ Devilface is a fantastic emoji.
It's a good emoji, but it's just ridiculous.
It gets used all the time. It's
I
when someone's being
understand. That's not the rules are whatever you want them to be for that specific matchup. How many times do I have to explain this to you?
I know, but it doesn't matter. It gets used all the time.
You're trying to set like rules for like consistently. That is not how it works. Everyone else was totally hypocritical. You're the only person who wasn't hypocritical.
I know. It's just I operate on a code of
The
honor. I'm
whole
like
point
you.
of the tournament was to be hypocritical and just like make your choice based on vibes, and then like yell at everybody else, call them idiots if they didn't agree
Well,
with
that's
you.
what I did. And that my vibe was that MJ Devilface was fantastic.
Ugh, terrible.
It's one of my favorite emojis. It's the most
It's a good
unhinged.
emoji, but it doesn't matter.
And
It's
if you want to talk about the best zoomed in face, that's the best zoomed in face emoji.
No, the
So
best zoomed
James
in
should have
face
backed
emoji is Dolan Fat. Dolan Fat Face is the best zoomed in face emoji.
All right, never mind. It's the second best zoomed in face emoji.
I don't really agree with that, but whatever. I don't like to use MJ Double Face, to be honest with you. Not even because it's MJ, I just don't really like it personally, but I acknowledge that it's like.
I love MJ Double. It's the most devious shit emoji ever.
Yeah, I think the whole picture is better.
Yeah.
Especially because his gut, he's got a gut in it, which just really adds to the like the whole vibe. Like I just like the whole picture a lot better.
Yeah.
Speaking of whole pictures, the sticker version of Dolan Shear is honestly even better than the emoji version of Dolan Shear.
I did a cutout. And I put Robert Randolph behind him.
Just Robert Randolph's in the back. It makes it so much better.
Yeah. It's so good. And Robert Randolph is wearing like his what did he have? Like he has like a weird hat on or something.
Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna like just pull it up so I can see what it looks like.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, I need stickers, not. Yeah, he's got a weird hat on and like a pink jacket. It looks so funny.
Yeah, and it's like a weird hat that looks almost like he like put a rally towel on it or something.
Yeah, or like a bucket hat inside out or something. Like it's very weird.
I have no idea, but it's hilarious. And then
anyway, we're gonna do Emoji Madness every year from now on. And next year, for all you patrons, just to be clear, we will be much more careful about what we let Zach put in the tournament because he is terrible at choosing emojis to put in the tournament. That's the one thing I learned.
It wasn't even just the wrong emojis, but the seeding was pretty disgusting.
Well, the seeding, he didn't even seed. He just did it randomly.
Right, but like you can infer like seeds, you know what I mean? Like
yeah, you can, but like it didn't really work because there were some matchups.
I did think he picked like one seeds. Like he definitely picked like the one.
He picked one seed. He definitely picked Dolan Shear, Fat Face, Clyde, and I'm forgetting who the fourth one seed was, but he definitely picked Dolan Angry. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. He definitely picked one seeds, and then otherwise was just like randomly assigning shit. But I like. And then every time we bring this up, he says, "Oh, I gave you guys all a chance to look at it." But here's the thing: we didn't care then, and now we do. So shut up.
We didn't realize how awesome it was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it would like seem like a fun idea, but I really didn't want to put any effort into it. and then it turned into the most fun thing ever. So I did want to put effort into it, and now I care. So now I'm mad, and that's just like with the tournament. I'm going to be hypocritical, and he has to deal with it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. All right. So let's do our last question here. And this one's just for you and I. I'm definitely not asking Zach this one. And I'm so glad that someone latched onto this. So Jax365 wants to know, when are we getting the separate Love is Blind channel and podcast?
I mean, I don't know about channel, but
like a Discord channel.
I don't think we do a Discord channel for that.
Maybe we should make one that we archive when there's not an active season going on and then bust it out.
Could do that. I just don't think we're going to get like discussion too much about it, but
you and I could just host our own discussions in there regardless.
Well, that's gonna be the podcast that we're going to do.
Yeah
but I actually do think it would be funny for us to just like, we've been branching out into football, and we have the occasional wrestling podcast. We did the one baseball podcast, and I think it would just be funny for us to do like a random single reality TV podcast.
Yeah. Then the next thing is just Love is Blind. No other.
Yeah.
It would be fun. It would. Do you think it would be the only exclusively male hosted Love is Blind podcast on the market?
No, I'm pretty sure I remember somebody I was seeing at the time mentioning they like this one Love is Blind podcast with two guys hosting it. So we would not be, but who cares?
Yeah. I feel like everyone that I see is just like my wife likes a couple of them that she mostly just follows on like Instagram and like watches their like reels and whatever of like clips of the show and doesn't actually listen to the whole show. But like there's this one that she always sends me where it's just like these two girls that like set up like a podcast set up like in their living room basically. And they're just sitting on like normal ass chairs just with like a mic stand in front of them and just like chit-chatting about it. I feel like that's most of the podcasts I've ever seen about it. That's like the style that they're doing it. But
I think, the only thing is you and Alicia are never caught up. So you'd have to you're always like a week behind.
No, we watch this year. We watched
Or
like the day
maybe
it
like a few days. I
happened.
don't know. I feel like maybe you don't watch it right because like it comes out on Wednesday and I watch it on Wednesday, which you
Well,
guys
yeah,
have.
but if you're watching it like during the day, like we have to watch
Yeah.
at night when we get home or whatever. But
Yeah. No, I don't
yeah,
watch
I
it
mean,
during
we'll
the
watch it
day.
at like
I
8 o'clock
just watch it
that
at night.
night.
I
Yeah,
watch
we
it at
watch it
night, but
during.
like I'll just stay up until 1 a.m. and then watch every episode.
Yeah, I mean, no, we'll watch it that night. I think there was
Uh,
only one episode this year where, um, our one couple friends uh they wanted to watch together the one week and
mhm,
like they just had a baby recently, so like they were like, oh, I think like Friday would be better, just for like whatever, like in terms of like it would
okay.
be like right before the weekend and stuff like that in case
Yeah.
the baby was fussy or whatever. And and so we waited. That was one of the weeks when they had like 2 or 3 episodes drop. So we watched like the first like 1 or 2 episodes and
Mhm.
then watched the last one at their place. And that was the one where they kept teasing the Chelsea part where like that clip that they like hammered like a million
Yeah, yeah,
times
yeah,
of
yeah,
her
yeah.
being like,
Yeah.
"I know you fucked
Yeah.
her."
Yeah.
And like
Yeah. And it was
the
obviously not about Jess, and it wasn't about Jess, it
yeah,
was about his friend. Yeah.
yeah, but it was like it was supposed to be in that episode, and I think it was in that episode, but that was obviously it was very disappointing. We're like,
Yeah.
"Really? Like you promoted this for 2 weeks, that moment, and that's what
Yeah.
the moment was? Like, get the fuck
Yeah.
out of here." Um, but yeah, no, the best part was the reunion of this season. Did we talk about that at all? Dude, the reunion was peak. Like, that shit
It
was
was
so
good.
good.
It's been so long now. I'm trying to rack my brain to remember exactly what happened. But the thing
So
is, I
there was
remember feeling like, yeah,
Trevor
well,
getting
the Trevor thing. Yeah.
yeah.
No, we
Them
did talk about it.
definitely they were definitely like when they sold him on the idea of coming there, they definitely told him like, "Oh yeah, we just want to talk about what happened with Chelsea or whatever."
Yeah.
And like did not mention at all that like they were going to bring up all that social media shit and whatever. Um
He really looked like he wanted to die. He looked like he
oh yeah.
wanted when that happened. Yeah.
Dude, he definitely I mean, his soul left his body right
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy. Um
They
and
didn't really go
then
after Jimmy and Chelsea though, which kind of annoyed me. They
no,
like,
they didn't go after them too
yeah.
much and then like I don't know, it was just I what was the other really big oh, the what's his face?
Well, 80 and
Sarah
Clay had
Ann
a
and
big. Oh, Sarah Ann and Jeremy was the top
Jeremy.
of the show. Yeah.
Yeah, like they like ripped into them too.
Yeah.
Like
I
they
mean, that
got
was great. Those
yeah,
those losers. Yeah.
yeah.
And then
Fucking
80 and Clay, like it was just great where Clay is of course again trying to get 80 back, and she's just like, no, I'm not interested.
yeah. But Clay's the no, no, I think they were gonna get back together, honestly. I would
No
not
way.
be surprised.
No, I think they
Uh,
would have by now. She's still saying in like interviews and whatever that she doesn't want to date him anymore.
I don't know. Well, if that's the
I mean,
case, then
the fact that she dated Matthew after the show is
it's
like
hilarious.
insane. I think
Yeah.
she really needs to like rethink how she chooses men because
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that dude was an actual fucking psychopath.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And she went to his apartment, and then she was like, "Yeah, we can go on another date." Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's crazy.
His apartment was definitely empty. Like, it probably had
Oh,
nothing in
for
it.
sure.
Yeah,
He probably like rented things to put in there
yeah,
to make it look good.
yeah,
Because he's like, what if they bring the cameras? America's gonna
yeah,
be watching. Like
yeah, yeah.
anyway,
Anyway,
all right. We need to save
I'm
some
on
of
it.
this for the
Yeah.
Love is
I'll
Blind
do
podcast.
next season. I'm down to do a Love is Blind podcast next season.
Maybe just one episode, one recap episode
Yeah,
or something. We could
yeah,
just put it up on Patreon or something.
yeah,
Like
yeah. I mean, we don't need to put it up for the public, but
anyway. All right. Let's wrap up this half and then through the magic of editing, when I clap my hands, Zach is going to be in Matt's spot and then we'll continue. And I don't think the same thing is going to happen like what happened last time where Matt just shows up halfway through and breaks the illusion. So
no, because assuming you're recording on Thursday night, the thing is, my hearing on Thursday night is at 6:30. So it's not impossible,
we'll
but
see
I
what
think it's unlikely because,
Zach will want to record early because he's an old man.
well, first of all that, and second of all, the reason I popped in out of nowhere is because I don't remember what it was, but something insane happened
Yeah. Yeah. I forget what
live,
it was.
and I was like, I wanted to react live to it on the podcast.
Yeah, like, oh, I just needed to like get your guys' opinion. Yeah, I forget what it was too.
Something happened.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but
Mm.
nothing like that's going to happen. Like nothing's going to happen on Thursday, so I'm not gonna do
Yeah.
it. You will not be seeing me in the half a sack.
Well, in that case, goodbye, Matt.
Hi, everybody.
And hello, Zach. All right. And now, wow, look at that. Matt's gone.
What? Where am I?
I've summoned, I said whackery, whackery, whackery in the mirror 3 times, and I've summoned Whack Delizio. How are you, Zach?
Is that the best you got?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my god.
I
I'm
just
good,
told you
dude.
Beetlejuice. Is that not good enough for you?
I was thinking Bloody Mary, but I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
that's
same
the
thing.
thing. It's a trope, dude. It's like, okay, I believe in you. You're better than this. But to answer your question, I'm doing fantastic. Got some pickup run. Alex, let me tell you, my jumper is feeling wet today. I whacked some people 11-0. It was comical. Hit those middies and they start closing on you, it's over.
What'd you play? Like 1-on-1, 2-on-2?
2-on-2. Yeah.
Okay.
Dude, the guy I
Yeah.
was playing with couldn't even. I respect. He played defense, so I appreciate that, but he couldn't even dribble the ball. Like carries. It was crazy.
Wow.
I wish you could have seen it.
All right. Look
How
at
about you,
you.
man?
Look at you, big dog.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's see if you can continue this momentum that you
Right.
started on the basketball court into some
Mm.
questions, because I'm going to ask you some questions that Matt and I already answered because I thought they were good enough to get asked of you as well. And then there's some questions that I didn't get to with Matt that you and I are going to get to together and get through.
Excellent.
So we're
Great
going to lead
plan.
with one such question that Matt and I have already checked out here, which was from Villain X, who wanted to know: skip Donovan Mitchell or wait for skip Donovan Mitchell and wait for bigger fish? Question mark. What do you think about that?
It's a great question because it's not the talent, right? It's a fit. I honestly, part of me thinks that, look, the question is two small guards, right? I mean, Mitchell isn't that small, but he's small enough where I think it still qualifies. And can you get away with that? I think the offensive talent would be unfucking believable. So you can take a hit on defense, but is it going to be good enough? That's a really tough question to answer. Brunson is as good as he can be considering his size, to be honest with you, but I haven't really watched Mitchell too much. I feel like he can lock in a little bit, especially given that both of them will share the scoring load. So they won't be going with the same workload that they have right now. But it's definitely it's a shame Embiid's always so injured because he'd be the perfect fit, but he has other questions. But I feel like a big man is ideal.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I could see that being the case as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess with Mitchell, I think the main thing just comes down to, like, after the season that Dante just had, like, do you really
Also
need to,
true.
yeah, like, because that would be the spot he'd be occupying. Like,
Right. Yeah.
like, do you need to upgrade that spot anymore? I don't.
That's a great point. I mean, he's clearly better, but given the fit with Brunson, is it worth dedicating that many resources to that position?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think I'm
So
with you. Like, and I mean, if it costs like Randall or something, then what are you doing at the power forward spot? Are you just rolling with Josh Hart there full
I would
time
rather
forever?
look how far we've come, Alex. I feel like I'd rather keep Randall and keep the powder jack. Look how far we've come. This is
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it speaks to Julius Randle too and how
Yeah,
good he was
seriously.
this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move to our first shared question here.
Ooh.
Franklin Chubb wants to know: do you ever get nostalgic for Knicks drama? Which incident were you mad about at the time, but now you find quite amusing?
I love this question.
I do too, because I do kind of sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
Really? Which what?
Like just the overall, like it was just,
Okay.
now it's like you're kind of just like smiling in everyone's face and being like, people want to try to like talk shit on the Knicks or whatever, and it's very easy to just be like, "Hey, idiot! Like scoreboard, like the Knicks are really good now. Like, shut up."
Yeah.
But it used to be kind of fun to be like constantly against the ropes and having to defend like Kevin Knox and whatever, and like
Oh,
be
that's a
like, "No,
lunacy. You're a
yeah, like
lunatic.
you don't understand. You don't understand. He's gonna be good."
Corey Murray.
Torrey Murray. Oh my God, that's a throwback.
I know, yo.
Uh, Alexi Shved, they can re-sign him next year.
Jeremy Tyler. He's got a mid-range game. He did it.
But yeah, I mean, like if you were gonna pick a particular Knicks drama item, is there any that stands out to you that like you were super pissed about at the time, but now you look back on fondly? It's like, oh, those were the days.
Bro, the J.R. Smith shoelace thing is
Oh yeah, that's a good one,
it's so fucking funny.
dude. And I was so pissed about that at the time. Like, I remember everyone was just like, JR, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like, just don't untie people's shoes.
That was so funny. Who does that?
Yeah, now in retrospect, it's like, man, like that was hilarious. And
Yeah.
he was a giant man baby. But at the time, it was like, you're the second most important player on this team, arguably. Like, what the fuck are you doing? You're
I'm
at least
also
the
pretty
second
sure
most
they were
important
bad
scorer.
that year, right? Like that was the year I feel like after they had high expectations and really fell short. Or was that
Yeah.
year?
That was, I believe, the shoes untied year was their. I
Was it
think
the
it was
Bargnani year?
14-15. I think it was the year after Bargnani,
Oof,
or the year after they acquired him,
bro.
because I think that was what was like the precursor to Phil trading him once Phil came into power that year.
God.
I could be wrong about that though.
Thank God. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Thank God we're not doing that shit anymore.
Well, it's like Phil Jackson, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I know all of that. There was a lot there for a long time.
yeah, there was. I mean, it was a lot to keep track of, like when the
Yeah.
exact timeline happened and everything. Luckily now it feels inconsequential to try to
Yeah.
keep track of when that timeline
Yeah.
was. But yeah, it was, I think it was 2014-15 season, but either way, it might have been 13-14 and then Phil finally traded him that next year. But it,
Still Warriors.
yeah, I just remember he got traded like at the deadline almost, and I think Phil took over like around the same time Leon Rose took over the year prior. So like it was like just after the All-Star break in like 2014, I think. Maybe. I don't know. It's weird to
It definitely felt like late in the season in my mind. Like people were fucking around, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, that was a good one. That's a really good
What was
pull.
yours?
Mine might be Bargnani. Like,
I was gonna say that, particularly like the shot. You know what I'm talking about.
yeah. The what is he doing, folks? Yeah.
Iconic.
Yeah. Just one of the best calls ever by Clyde, I think.
100%.
And just in general, like all the funny moments that we got to have with him. Like I always remember the Knicks doing movie quotes, like Twitter video too, where they had him do the Zoolander, like what is this a school for ants? And they had Bargnani do it, and like through his like Italian accent, he was like, what is this, a school for ants? And it was so good. Like, and at the time you're like, God, you suck so much and I don't like you.
Yeah, that's
So
hilarious.
it was hard to laugh at it as hard back then, but now you can look back on that stuff and be like, damn, that was really funny.
And dude, even I feel bad about this, but the injury, do you remember that? Like,
Oh
that
yeah,
was fucking funny. I'm sorry.
Air Bargnani, yeah,
Bro,
absolutely.
and then the ball bounced off his head. I'll never forget that.
Yeah,
I will never forget that. It was like insult to injury. That's crazy.
He goes up, it comes nowhere close to dunking. It falls flat on his face, and then the ball bounces up, bounces off the bottom of the hoop, and then fucking hits him in the head. It was just
torn ligament, done for the season.
Yeah, and then he was done for the season with like I don't think he actually tore something. It was just like a sprained ligament or whatever. But
I'm pretty sure he was out for a long time. That's all that matters.
Yeah, he was out for like 2 months after that, and it took him through the end of the season. It shows
incredible stuff.
Obviously, it was a career ending, so no more than his play was. That's for sure. So we can look back at it.
Career ending, his injuries or his play.
Yeah, his injury, his career ending injury was his play. So I mean, yeah, we can look back on that shit now. Yeah, that was a good one. I mean, yeah, it's mostly that whole era. I mean, I also, I don't know, there was something I was too stupid and like too much of a kid at the time to understand just how bad the Isaiah years were too. So like when the Knicks made all those stupid ass trades, like trading for Steve Francis or whatever, I can remember like as a kid being like 14, whatever, being like, oh my God, the Knicks just got Steve Francis. Like, holy shit. Like being like, this is gonna kick ass. And then it was just terrible.
14-year-olds. That's what they were doing.
Yes, of course. Like I just knew the name, from like NBA Live or whatever. I'm like, oh my God. This is gonna be the best NBA Live team of all time, which it generally was, but not a good on-court team. So yeah, I think that's once we had because we're in the same age bracket, so once we'd like come of age in like the early 2010s, like shit got real.
Yeah,
and
got that taste, and that was it.
Yep, that was
Till now, boys. Till now.
All right, let's move to our next question. So this is another one that Matt and I answered already. I'm gonna just throw it to you for your thoughts on this. So Schwinn wanted to know, and this was there's a little bit of dated language in here because this was asked prior to the play-in, but isn't there an argument that having home court for 2 series has a higher probability for the Knicks to get to the ECF than tanking to avoid a perceived worse matchup versus, we now know it's Philly, but he said Philly or Miami? What do you think about that?
So a couple things. It's tough to sort of remove what I know now, right? Which is that we're getting Philly with injured Joel Embiid. Well, we'll see, but it looks like he was not healthy in the last game. Like, not even close. There's not even like, he kind of fell apart down the stretch. That was just really.
And he's already a 50-50 shot to play in game one.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
yeah, exactly. So in that sense, like, this definitely looks better. But I think, at the time, it certainly looked like that could be the case. Like, he definitely wasn't healthy, right? And Miami isn't actually good. I know we kind of have the bugaboo, and again, it's easier to say that now because of what happened since then. But they're not. They can't score. They're not actually good. I think the Knicks would have beaten them. It probably would have been rough, and probably would have been a very physical and injury-ridden series. But now we're looking at it, and look, you got the injured Sixers, and then you have what the potentially either Bucks or Pacers in the second round. Bucks have been dog shit. Pacers, I mean, maybe I'm being disrespectful. I feel like we all collectively just don't really worry about them. I feel like if you are persistent in your transition defense, you're okay. Relative to the second round of the playoffs, those are easy matchups. And then all of a sudden, there you are. So I think Sean is definitely right. And by the way, just to add to, like, I don't want to start going this direction, but Miami does beat the shit out of people. So name a worst first round series for Boston than Miami.
Yeah. I don't know if there could be one, because nobody's going to probably actually just beat them from a basketball perspective in round one. But Miami is going to
shit beat out of them.
Yeah, I mean, Bam Adebayo is going to try to take Porzingis out of the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And they're going to lose. I'd be surprised if it even went, honestly, like more than 5 games. But that's going to be physical as fuck.
Especially if they don't have Jimmy Butler. Like,
that's true. Yeah. Oh my God. Ugh.
Yeah, so they might not have Jimmy. God. So I mean, if that happens, then it's just going to be like Tyler Hero taking 45 shots a game. But
I mean,
Bam Adebayo trying to kneecap everybody.
He's going to get pants on national TV, so that's dope.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I think I mean, I said as much when I was talking with Matt, but I'm with you too. Like, I think just the home court is worth something. And like, now that we know what we know, like, this is why, I mean, there's a reason why the Sixers and the Heat ended up in the play-in, and it's because they were, they dealt with some injuries throughout the year, but they were also, more inconsistent than usual too. And, if Joel Embiid's hurt, now we see like Butler's hurt, whatever, like Knicks are going to look pretty good if they take this series in like 5 or 6 against Philly, and it doesn't look particularly hard. And then they get to start with 2 home games against either the Bucks or the Pacers, no matter who wins. Like, that's a pretty good situation to be in. So,
things are looking good, man. I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but this is pretty crazy. Like, I feel like we're usually a little self-aware of our homerism. We're like, okay, I know this is a long shot. Like, I could see it, but I know this is a long shot. Like, I don't know, man. Just look around. Like, they've been real fucking good. This is wild. And by the way, all it takes is one injury to Boston.
Yep.
To like one of several players, and that's it. You got a shot.
At the depth. Like,
yeah. And this happens every year. Every year, someone gets injured in the playoffs, someone huge, and everything changes every year.
Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be interesting, but I mean, you don't fall into 50 wins. Like, that's earned. It's earned. That it's not a fluke. There's no way that this was a fluke for the Knicks. Like, so,
especially given they had so much adversity. It's crazy. Like, looking at this season has been fucking wild.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. All right, we got this one's one for you here, because Matt and I already did this. So Duder Adam wants to know, rank your interest in all the currently known playoff matchups. So now we can actually, I think, say all of them are known except for the final one in the West. I think the game is still going on, or did that go final yet?
Kings Pelicans is still happening. I mean, obviously Knicks Sixers won. I feel like let's just get that out of the way. I think number 2, Clippers Mavs, looks like that's going to be a fucking barn burner. And also, by the way, if the Clippers lose, can you imagine the fit of Paul George on this team? I'm just saying, just see what happens. Look out. that should be wild. I have no idea what to expect. Those are two heavyweight teams. That's just stands out. I don't think anything else is honestly really that close. The East, Matt, I don't really care. Cavs Magic is probably going to be. I'm not going in order. I'm just kind of spitballing. Cavs Magic, that's not going to be. It's going to be defense and ugly, and it's probably going to be close, but I'm not sure it's going to be entertaining, really. So I think mostly out west, right? Like Clippers, Mavs, 1. T-Wolves, Suns, got some intrigue. I could see the Wolves just like absolutely smacking them down, though, is the thing. Like that feels like a high variability one. Nuggets, Lakers. I mean, LeBron, okay. That'll be entertaining. I also feel like the Lakers are probably going to smack down, but that's okay. That's always entertaining. And the rest, I don't really care. I feel like the Pacers are going to obliterate the Bucks, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that would. Oh, you think? I don't know if I'm quite there.
Giannis, I mean, they're not even. The Bucks haven't been good with healthy Giannis. So, like, what? Yeah, I don't know. Shit could change in the playoffs. Everything gets wonky, but I don't know.
I worry a bit about the Pacers' style of play in the playoffs, but I could see a world where they just kind of blow them out of the water.
Well,
I guess.
And Halliburton definitely. I believe he wasn't healthy towards the end of the season either. But you're right. I think it probably will be much less effective. But against the Bucks, have just been like fucking lazy, right? Like that's if this was Miami versus the Pacers, I'd be like Miami's going to take away all the easy shit, and this is going to be a slugfest. Or even the Knicks, right? I'd feel much more confident. But like the Bucks, I don't know, man. You got to come in there with effort and playing hard. And Dame Lillard, I don't know.
Doesn't seem too interested in that anymore.
Yeah,
it is interesting. What do you think about Nuggets Lakers? That was one that Matt and I had pretty high on our list.
I'd have it third. I think because most of the first round matchups are not particularly intriguing. Third, fourth, I guess technically. I can't help. I would love to see LeBron make this close. I would love that because I'm trying to enjoy the ride. Like his career is not going to be that much longer. I would love for this to go long, but I don't know. Last year was like the closest sweep of all time. I don't want to fucking hear it. No, stop it. Win a game, then we'll talk.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think that series will go at least 6. I think it'll be pretty intriguing. So I guess we'll see. I mean, maybe
a big take.
Maybe the Nuggets actually are that good that they'll just destroy them. But I think the Lakers are good enough to like give them a hard time.
I hope so. I hope so.
It'll be fun to watch. Hopefully.
Yeah. That's all I mean.
All right, let's move to our next questions. This comes from Franklin Chubb. This one's an interesting one. Franklin Chubb wants to know, I just asked ChatGPT to come up with a witty Knicks-related question for the Strickland mailbag pod, and this is what it came up with. Bear in mind, this is supposed to be the future of technology. So Franklin Chubb's ChatGPT question wants to know, how many New York Knicks fans does it take to change a light bulb, and can they trade it for a future draft pick?
Yo, that's so funny because it's so close to actually being funny.
Yeah.
It just has it backwards. It's so close to being funny.
Yeah. How many future draft picks can Knicks fans screw into a light bulb? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, that's better. It's hard to make a joke. You can't make it.
Yeah. I think there was a comment further down in the mailbag questions. It was just, I think it was from Franklin Chubb, and also like Jax 365, I think, remarked on it. It was just like, yeah, ChatGPT has done so much machine learning on LOL Knicks that that's all it knows now. That's all it knows how to do with the Knicks. I'm like,
I mean, that tracks.
It's kind of funny. Let ChatGPT hate the Knicks.
It's trading on the internet, so the internet has rightfully been shitting on the Knicks for the past 15 years. So, it's not a huge surprise that it's going to do that.
Yeah,
it's funny though.
So, all right, let's go to our next one. That this one's just for you.
Yeah.
I'll rephrase this slightly, just since this was asked the day of the end of the regular season, but ZMP323 wants to know thoughts on Cleveland's cowardice. So this is of course in relation to Cleveland like tanking the last quarter of their game so that they could get the matchup that they wanted and end up with the Magic in the playoffs as the 4 seed. So do you have any big thoughts on that? On shaving points a little bit or whatever to get
It's
the
more of
playoff
the same.
matchup
It's
going?
weak shit. I have a friend who's a Cavs fan, and he hated it too.
Yeah.
It's just like this is so on brand for them. It's so pathetic. Like, grow up. Donovan Mitchell is on the verge of leaving, and you're so terrified of it, and that's definitely part of the reason. Everyone knows what's going on over there. They're shitting their pants. It's hilarious, and I hope they lose. Go
Yeah.
Orlando.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think it's it was just so stupid to do that. Because I
It
I
was
also
so
think
funny.
Orlando, Matt was saying this, and I kind of agreed. Like Orlando very much has the makeup of a team that can do the exact same thing to Cleveland that the Knicks did last year. Like,
Out physical.
yeah, out physical them. They've got Bankero, they've got Franz, they've got good point of attack defender, like really good point of attack defender in Jalen Suggs. They have lots of competent bigs with good, interior defense. Like, they might have bit off a little more than they could chew here. Like, I actually think that Indy would have probably been a better matchup for them, although I think Indy had their number kind of during the regular season, and maybe that was why they tried to avoid them. But I don't know. That wouldn't have been my choice if I were them, to go about it that way.
I love it.
Yeah.
They're going to be feeling the pressure now.
Yep. Yeah. Hopefully they fold under it. All right. Quick question from Mikey Cooks in the Discord. You think Tibbs listens to R&B music?
Honestly, yeah.
I think so.
I kind of feel like I don't know how to explain that, but I feel like yes.
I think it's just because like he's an old head, like he's probably, he probably listens to like some 80s, 90s R&B,
He's vibing. But he
Yeah,
doesn't let everyone see it. Like no one knows about it, but he is. When he goes back
when
to
he's
the
watching
hotel,
film. Yeah.
yeah.
When he's watching film, he flips some stuff on, like just, has a little jam sesh and
He lights a candle.
yeah. Yeah. In the tub, like sets up his iPad, gets some R&B
Put
on.
a laptop in front of him, chilling in the tub.
Yeah,
That's
he's got
all
like one of
good
those little
vibes.
like desks that you put over the tub,
Yeah.
have shit on there, whatever. He puts a laptop or an iPad or whatever.
So great.
I can see it. I think
Smoke fatty.
that.
Now we're talking.
There we go.
They drug test coaches? Definitely not, right? They can't. No, that's crazy.
What's that?
Do they drug test coaches?
I don't even know if they drug test players for weed anymore.
That's true, right? Yeah, that's true.
I also don't think the Tibbs ever put a substance in his body though, other than maybe like drinking a little bit.
That guy, have you seen him?
Yeah. Like I'm pretty sure he's never taken a drug. His drug is basketball. His drug is winning.
Tibbs has definitely smoked weed.
You think he smoked weed?
100%. I'm not gonna say he does it regularly. He 100%.
All right. When was the last time Tibbs smoked weed?
22 years old. He had a mental breakdown and couldn't do it again.
Yeah, I can see 22. Okay, yeah, I'm with you. I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah,
like he only did it once, and it like fucked him up so hard that he never did it.
He's like, I don't know why people enjoy this. Back to grinding tape.
Yeah, forever. I need full control on my brain so I can grind more tape. All right, let's move to our next question. This comes from Villain X, and Villain X wants to know if you could pick the first round matchups, how would you do it? Most competitive, most chaotic, most advantageous for the Knicks. So I'm assuming that this means if we could pick our own opponents in those 3 categories, what would it be? So I don't think we have to make too much of a spectacle of this, but like, who would you say if you were just purely like doing this like Dragon Ball Z Saiyan combat style, like you want to find the strongest possible foe to test your mettle against, who would be the one that you would pick to be most competitive with the Knicks?
I don't fucking know. I mean, other than Boston,
I think it just is Boston at this point.
Yeah, I thought he was saying like, if you had any way to choose all of the matchups, how would you do them? Like, give the most advantage to the Knicks or make it the most competitive? Because those are 2 different things, right? Like, we could give the Knicks the worst team, but it'd be much less competitive, or chaotic, et cetera, et cetera.
I thought it was just like pick each of those categories.
I would do it most advantageous first, then most competitive everywhere else as a secondary sorting factor. That's what I would do. I'm cheating and getting the Knicks to finals 100%.
Giving the Knicks the Bucks, you said?
No, that well, whoever it is, yeah, I don't know who do we do for. Oh, who? No, we want Miami playing Boston just like this. Honestly, it could be very similar to what it is now. That's a crazy thing.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
has
crazy
kind of worked
thing.
out that way.
Yeah, yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would say if we were looking at this from the most competitive standpoint and we wanted the Knicks to just test their mettle, I would say put them against Boston first, and then everything else will be a cakewalk after that.
Yeah, true.
But as far as like most chaotic, like I don't I don't know if it could be too much more chaotic than it is right now. Like
Yeah.
I guess the chaos option is that the Knicks would have to face Boston in the second round and that they face the Cavs in the first round again. Because I
I
mean that
feel
would
like
just
this is pretty chaotic. Like
it is pretty chaotic. Like
you look at
Knicks
this and
Sixers
we're
first
saying
round is not your traditional first
yeah,
round
you could
series. I
have
feel like.
2 upsets in the first round on each side of the bracket.
Yeah,
It's not
it's possible.
inconceivable. So I feel like that's pretty chaotic, all things considered. Like a 1-8 is never going to be competitive.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the only way to make it more advantageous for the Knicks at this point would be if they had ended up with the Heat instead of the Sixers just because of the loss of Butler.
True.
But
Without Jimmy, yeah.
the Heat will also try to injure whichever team they're facing, so it's probably for the best that
Exactly.
yeah, so yeah, I think we sort of found it already, so I don't know if there's too much more to change.
Yeah. That's kind
Yeah.
of funny, actually.
It is kind of funny. It ended up weirdly sort of perfect, and it's kind of funny because I think yeah, Villanex asked that question today too, so, like, the Sixers matchup was already set, but, like,
Yeah.
funny enough, I think we're already there.
Yeah. And on the other side, by the way, Boston could get Miami and then Orlando, 2 physical defensive teams in a row. And again, like this is exactly what you want. Just beat the shit out of them until they get to the Knicks. We're going to beat the shit out of them even more.
And by the time they get to the Knicks, they're already, like, a little
Yeah.
woozy, hands not
Exactly.
fully guarding the face, yeah,
Exactly.
like,
You take
let 'em
game
get
1
to
at home, and all of a sudden they start getting tight buttholes, and your
Mhm.
business.
And if we've seen one thing about this Celtics team is that they're not good when they get a tight butthole.
Exactly.
So all right, let's go to our next question, which comes from Duder Adam, who wants to know, uh oh, I guess we sort of just did this already. I didn't realize that I should have recognized these 2 questions were basically the
This one,
same,
I think he was saying which teams would you want to beat en route to the finals? Like if you're guaranteed to beat them, which ones would be most satisfying? That was my interpretation.
well, this is a totally separate question, which is Duder's, which
Yeah.
is ideally which teams would you each want to face in a potential march to the finals?
Mhm.
Um I think the way it could shake down is pretty much how I'd want. I mean, I feel like the Cavs are like been there, done that, so don't have
Oh,
to
come
prove
on.
that the
Wouldn't
Knicks
it have
can
been
beat them
so
again.
fun to just beat them down again?
Yeah, but like
Just utterly shit on their life.
it would be fun, but I mean, like beat up the reigning champs, take down Giannis and the Bucks, or I'm sorry, not reigning champs, reigning MVP is what I meant to say. So beat down the reigning
Mhm.
MVP and Embiid, beat the Bucks, in the second round, who thought they were title contenders, and then beat the Celtics in the ECF, which would be like a huge upset, beating a division foe, second division foe out of 3 opponents. Like, I don't know, that's pretty satisfying. I don't know if I could come up with a more satisfying way.
Can I offer you the
Mhm.
Miami Heat
Yep.
followed by Tyrese Halliburton and Indiana Pacers, just exposing them as complete frauds, just
Okay.
utterly pantsing them in 5 games, just destroying, obliterating both of those teams. And then the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, causing them to blow up their piece of shit team. I mean, they wouldn't. That's not what would happen, but we were imagining, And then you get to the finals. Who do you beat in the finals? I guess we didn't say who you beat in the finals. It was the
Yeah,
run
so it
to
says March to the finals. So
yeah, to the finals. So we don't get control of that. I'll take that. Come on, that's not. You get all the rivals. You get to tap all 3.
I think what I've learned here is that there's a lot of hate in Knicks fans' hearts, and like no matter who the Knicks face in this playoffs, other than maybe like the Magic, who I'd say we
Yeah,
maybe have like no beef with, I think all the rest of the teams would be really satisfying to beat
you're right.
for one
I
reason
don't.
or
I don't
another.
care about the Bucks.
But even the
To be honest.
Magic, it was like the Magic beat the Knicks in the regular season this year, and it was really annoying because they kept beating the Knicks when the Knicks were like at their lowest, like with
Yeah.
injuries and stuff.
Sure.
So I guess that would also be sort of satisfying. It's just the least satisfying of
Mhm.
all the possible outcomes. So
Exactly.
yeah, I think no matter what, there's good answers here. But I kind of like mine where I actually just really like their path right now. But I could see yours as well. Yours is more drinking the like past
Mega
transgressions
hater.
haterade. Mine is more like
going on team subreddits after the game and watching her have a meltdown.
and
That's what I'm looking for.
mine is like I think it would just be satisfying to have like a march, which they might well end up with a march to the finals where they end up beating 3 teams that like in the preseason. A lot of people were saying we're going to make the finals.
Yep.
That would be pretty satisfying. So, but both good answers. Zach, Matt and I already answered this. So from ZMP323, give me your best Jalen Brunson MVP pitch.
Ooh, well, number 2 seed in the East, 50 wins. Who is actually like a shot creator on this team other than him? I think that's it. And just like watching him play, it's obvious that he is literally everything to the offense. I mean, they like kind of scrape by a little bit with the bench, right? With Deuce going crazy, but like that's second. Like it's a little bit. That's all you're getting. Without Randall, you didn't have OG half a season. I guess you had Quick to help with that in the beginning of the season, but like down the stretch here, it's been him and playing defense, and he's a part of that. And he is just carrying. He has the highest usage rate in the league, I think, over that span. I mean, what else is there? I don't. It's not going to happen, but that would be the pitch. I think it's a good one.
Yeah, I think you pretty much hit on all the same stuff that Matt and I did. I don't totally remember what our pitch was, but yeah, I think that was pretty much it. I mean, 2 seed, stepped up for Randall, averaged over 30 points per game, after Randall went down.
Incredible. Honestly, it's incredible.
It was an incredible half season, incredible full season, but like really back half of the season when it mattered the most.
You even got the recency bias just overwhelming everything because he was just a monster to close out the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
he's locked in. I can't fucking wait. Bro, he's going to be – I hope. We'll see. He's going to go off.
I hope so. I want to see it.
I believe it.
All right. Next question comes to us from Jax365, who says, has Craig Carton got the worst success to failure take ratio in sports media? This was referencing a quote that Craig Carton said, I don't draft 7'5" guys to weigh $150. I don't do it. I think we've got to slow our roll a little bit on the fact that he's going to be this generational talent with relation to Victor Wembanyama. I don't really follow Craig Carton at all because I don't really follow most of the radio guys anymore.
Carton, dude. What a name. Yeah. What is that?
Oh, wait, do you actually not even know who he is?
I literally have no idea who that is.
Oh, okay. Well, he's like, I think he's on WFAN. He's like a radio personality. In the New York area.
Radio guys, I feel like have even less accountability than like anyone else, right?
I mean, I do know he's stupid. He went to prison for a while, I think.
Okay.
For gambling or some shit. I don't know. I forget.
Okay.
Or tax evasion or like I don't fucking know.
Very different things.
Yeah, I don't know. He went to prison for something. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, he's stupid. I mean, anyone that's it was very obvious going into last draft cycle who had never watched Wemby ever, like even just like a highlight film or two, because all you had to do is watch the dude for like 5 minutes to be like, oh, he's doing stuff I've literally never seen before, and as a physical profile we've never seen before. So obviously he's going to be, the number 1 pick, and how much he weighs should not matter. Like if he's in good condition and everything else, like,
Yeah, everyone comes into the league, they're literally children. So like you need to give them some time to put on the weight. And also I Googled it. He was 210 pounds coming in. Like that's still pretty light for his size, but that's my weight. I'm 6'4", 210. I'm like, that's still pretty big. That's not a buck. I mean, come on. Even it's ridiculous exaggeration made to troll people. And I don't know. That's it, right?
Yep. Yeah, stupid take. So Craig Carton will remain
Stupid.
far on our periphery.
Yeah.
Not even worth acknowledging.
It's a stupid name too.
Yeah, Craig Carton. Yeah, he's a character. All right, next question comes from Villain X. So this one's just for you, Zach, because we did this one already. Aside from Jalen Brunson, All NBA first team and MVP top 5, what other? This is the part that I didn't quite get. What other non-Strickland awards should the Knicks be in contention for? I didn't know we handed out awards, but either way, out of the NBA
great
awards,
idea. I will say that it was a great idea to do Strickland awards.
it is not a bad idea.
Yeah. So shouts to Villain X, and we'll circle back to that. Like, I mean, I don't do shit around here, so I have no agency in this. I'm just saying it's a good idea. I'm saying not that many, mostly because like Randall, I think would have been All NBA if he had been healthy. I think you really can't make a case for OG Defensive Player of the Year, but like if we're reaching, that's the only, or not Defensive Player of the Year, like first team, second team, all defense. I think that's something where you could like kind of, if you ignore the games played and the fact that he only played here half a season, if you somehow just hand wave that could be something you're making a case for. But I don't know. That's the thing. Like that goes back to the MVP case, right? It's like what even was going on here? I was even thinking Hartenstein for Sixth Man of the Year, but no, he started most of the year, even though he started as a bench player. So nope, can't.
What do you think about, despite the NBA's stupid rules prohibiting it, thanks to minutes played or whatever, Dante for most improved player?
It's interesting. I don't know what his numbers exactly were last year.
He jumped up like 5 points per game. He jumped up, I think, 3 percentage points in 3-point shooting, while also shooting like over double the volume. Assists and stuff stayed about the same. Minutes went up a bit.
I don't know who else would be in contention for that. Is the thing.
I think Tyrese Maxey is favored to win that award right now.
Who was?
Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, well, yeah. There you go.
So he'll probably win it, but I mean, I think there's case to be made for.
Yeah, you could some sort. Yeah, that's fair. If we're doing OG second team defense, you can do this.
Yeah. So
100%.
All right. Well, I think that's solid though. Yeah, I just don't. I think Brunson is the main guy that would garner
Josh
any
Hart's
awards.
of the year?
I don't. He started like half the games too.
Yeah, there's too many. It's too many injuries. That's the thing. Like nobody can be Sixth Man. Deuce McBride, Sixth Man of the Year.
He didn't play enough. Like,
I know.
I mean,
exactly.
If he played the whole season like he did in like post All-Star break, maybe.
Yeah. By the way, I haven't done this recently, but at one point I looked up his numbers compared to Quickly on this team, and they're pretty close. And not the assists, but I'm just saying. No disrespect to Quick. I'm just saying.
He's coming around a little later, but Deuce is definitely filling some of those same gaps. All right, let's go to our next question. Comes from Jax365, who wants to know, what sports debate personalities from any networks would you have on a Knicks Twitter space to speak?
Bro, I got nothing here. I don't know any of them. So that's you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm noticing through this that I pay very little mind to sports debate personalities anymore. I mean, I think the default's Stephen A, and with the goal there being just to kind of dunk on him a bit. It's so annoying having him be like the ESPN face of Knicks fans and constantly like he'll get on there, and the second they lose like 2 games, he'll be like, I don't know. I don't think that they're very good, blah, 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 blah. And, this, that, the other. And, oh my God, the sky is falling, whatever. And like any other fan would be like, dude, shut up. Like, it's really not that bad. It's like 2 games. And then, like the other day, it's like, in the lead up to the play-in game, he's like sitting there going, my Knicks could beat anybody. I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. They're going to beat the Sixers. They'll beat the Heat. I don't care. I'm not scared of anybody. My Knicks are so good. This, that, the other. And it's like, bro, like just either be a fan, be a homer, or like pretend to be objective, but like don't do both.
Well, you say that, but when he does both, he makes a fuckload of money. So
that's very true. I mean, That's all it comes down to. He plays a
Yeah.
character, but it's an annoying
100%.
character.
100%.
So
It is what it is. I
Yeah.
will say that it would be hilarious to have Stephen A. and Schwinn in a space together,
that would be pretty
yelling
funny.
at each other. That'd be chaos.
Yeah, it would be. If Schwinn had if Schwinn knew that he could go as hard at Stephen A as he possibly wanted to with no repercussions, I think that shit would turn into a bloodbath.
Yeah. Oof.
It would be pretty funny. Like if we were like Schwinn, we never have to have a working relationship with these guys again, or Stephen A or anybody.
Just take them out.
Like just take them out. Like the
Bro,
engagement will be worth it.
Schwinn team 6.
Yeah, shit's crazy. So yeah, I guess Stephen A. That's my default answer. I don't really care about any of the rest of them. I don't know. It's just yeah. All right. So last question that's just for you. So this comes from Villain X, and they wanted to know, what are some of your favorite memories of this season?
Favorite memories. Oh wow, what do we do? The entire run after OG got here was crazy. That was like, I mean, we haven't really reached that height since then for understandable reasons. But like that was that was like every single night was sort of like pinching myself. Like what is happening? Like they were blowing out contenders left and right, just like no problem, and obliterate terrible teams. Just like absolutely take care of them. Never fucking around. Just get out of this arena. You do not belong with us. Every single night. That was crazy. That wasn't one specific. I mean, I can't remember exactly when it really came to a head because they beat like maybe the Sixers game. I felt like that one was perfect because that was healthy. Embiid was still there, and I believe that was the one where Hardenstein just completely took out Embiid, and the Sixers in general are just dog shit. The 60-point was good, but they lost in frustrating fashion, so that kind of makes it a little worse. And he didn't break Melo's record, but I'm sure it'll happen. What else stands out? I mean, just the end of the season, it's recency bias, but to close the season, that was, again, it's just like crazy. It's night after night of like 40 points, and he just makes it look easy. He's just torching everyone nonstop. It's crazy to watch someone this good. I've never seen anything like it. I didn't get to watch Patrick Ewing, so I've never seen this before.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think those are all good choices. I made the case. I think I don't know. I don't remember if I made this with Matt too. I've recorded too many podcasts this week, but I definitely made the case with Gavin at one point on Locked On Knicks about that. I still think the 61-point game holds up just because in the grand footnotes of history, like I think that we'll look back on that and be like, damn, like that was an awesome game for Brunson, but also like that was where Wemby sort of like started making his leap to becoming one of the best players in the league.
The Steph Curry game, dude. Remember that?
Yeah, except for the Knicks won that game, which made it more.
But that was
although I guess from a Warriors fan perspective, that would have been similar to what the Knicks was.
Yeah.
You know, like because Steph scored 50 or 52 or whatever at the Garden,
and that was like I will never forget where I was when I was watching that game. That was preposterous.
Yeah. It was sort of like the reverse, right? Because it was like the up and comer got the 50 points. In the Garden.
It was close. Like it was their breakout game, and then you're gonna look back at that like that was the moment. Like literally, that was the moment. And I
think a lot of people look back at that as Steph's moment for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so this might get looked back on and be like, hey, that was like partly Brunson's moment of fully stepping into like the 1A conversation, but then also like Wemby getting like 40 and 20 in that game is like crazy. Yeah, crazy. So I like that game a lot. I don't know. I'll remember that one fondly.
That's a good one. And honorable mention to DiVincenzo breaking the Knicks record for threes.
That was fun. That was definitely very fun. Taking all those records back from Fournier was very satisfying.
The second he gets shipped out, it's hilarious.
Yeah.
No disrespect, Evan. I like Evan. It's fine.
Yeah. It was also funny because like Fournier tried so hard to stop DiVincenzo from getting the record too. Like that was the only defense we've seen him play in like 3 years. And it was on the Pistons trying to guard DiVincenzo to not let him take that award from him. It was very funny. All right. Last question. before we, oh my God, this could be like an over 2 hour mailbag by the time I put these two parts together. Uh,
You guys talk
yeah,
too much. Jesus.
Matt and I got talking on Love Is Blind, so
Oh God.
yeah,
Jesus Christ. Keep it together.
yeah, that was at least 10 minutes. that we
Wow.
did that. Matt.
Oh my God.
But Jax365 wants to know: was Derek Jeter the baseball version of Kobe Bryant?
Dude, I don't know. I'm not a Yankee fan. I don't watch baseball. So this is all you.
I guess the first, well, so I'm not a Yankee fan either, but I guess the first part of this would have to be: are the Yankees the Lakers of baseball, or the Lakers the Yankees of basketball?
I feel like that's an easy yes.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So that's the first link.
Yeah.
Because I do think, I mean, obviously the Knicks, for as much as we love them, they are not the Yankees.
No.
In terms of what they've accomplished and whatever. The only other one that you can maybe make a case for in the NBA would be the Celtics. But I don't think the Celtics are the
ubiquitous brands is the thing. Like it's just ubiquitous. The Yankees,
yeah.
Lakers.
I think the Lakers give more evil empire vibes just based off of like free agents they've gotten over the years and stuff like that, more so than Boston, who actually, to their credit, like builds their team pretty organically.
Sure.
So then is Jeter Kobe? I guess.
It kind of seems like it, right?
Yeah, I guess my only thing is like Jeter was never like a huge counting stats guy, which I guess would be my only
Kobe
like.
wasn't really either. I mean,
Yeah,
because the whole thing was the efficiency, though, right? Like people would rib him for shooting too much all the time and be like, "Oh, well, he's scoring all these points, but he does it inefficiently," which is not really true. But that's one way people interpreted it.
I mean, Kobe averaged. Okay, so from the time when he sort of like came on, so let's say like his fourth season in the league, 23 points, 29 points, 25,
but
30,
what were the
24,
percentages?
28,
It was just like
35.
People would be like, he doesn't shoot efficiently.
Right, but then 35 points, and he shot that year when he scored 35 points per game. He averaged 41 minutes a game in 80 games.
41 minutes is preposterous.
Took 27 shots per game.
Oh my God.
Shot 45%, 35% from three.
For that volume, 45% is crazy, but I know people would trash him. Like people see 45% and don't understand the bigger picture and say that's inefficient.
I don't know though. You're talking in today's standards, like mid 2000s, he shot 45% from the field.
This is what people always said about Kobe in my perception. Obviously, we're talking about different perceptions. Like I only know the people who were talking. There was no internet back then. Like I'm just around, that's my perception of it. But I swear people would talk shit about Kobe to be like, oh, shoot too much, doesn't pass enough, doesn't shoot high enough, it gets carried by other people, blah, 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 blah. That was the oldest shit.
Yeah, I think people just used to call him a Chuck or whatever, but
yeah, exactly.
He was an insanely, I would argue, based off the era that he played in, he was a very efficient scorer, especially at his peak.
Well, tell that to the 10-year-olds.
Yeah. But I guess like my main difference is like, so, okay, let's just assume for the sake of argument that he was inefficient. He was a high numbers guy. So in that case, he's more like, okay, I'm trying to think of someone like Piazza maybe or something. Like from that perspective, like I'm just trying to think of it in a New York scope, but like high numbers, like high homers, high RBIs, but not a high average hitter. Whereas like Jeter didn't really have the power numbers and like the sexy numbers, like the RBIs and all that shit. Like I think he only had like one season of 100 plus RBI.
They both just clutch. Like I feel like what it comes down to is clutch, win a lot for the biggest franchise, right? Like if that's the case, if you're trying to say Derek Jeter's baseball version of Kobe Bryant, right? Like that simple. There's other stuff that like is kind of there. That's what we're dancing around, but like win, best team, iconic, same time also.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So like, oh wait, okay. Let me just see here. RBI. Yeah, Jeter only had 100 RBI season. I think that's my biggest difference, but I am with you. Like Clutch played for the biggest team, won a bunch of championships, also had a number of years where they didn't have good enough teams built around them to actually win a championship.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, I think I've talked myself into it. I went into this question. I saw this when I was copying and pasting. I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, nah, I think so. I think it's a good
A
analogy.
wise man changes his mind. See, everyone, Alex is very wise.
Yeah, I like to try, But all right. Well, we're done. We did it, Zach. Only 56 minutes. Look at us.
Yeah, I came in under an hour. All right.
For the second half of the podcast.
That was like 10, 15 questions. All right. Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, something like that. Not half
Thank
bad.
you, everyone, for the questions, as always.
Yes. Thank you all for asking questions. Thank you all for listening. Oh, Matt's not here to tell us what episode it is. So I guess I'm just going to have to say this has been episode 94.
Wow.
Of Knicks Mail.bag. Something like that. I forget. I don't know. Matt usually looks it up, and I'm too lazy to do that right now because it's kind of late and I'm about ready to be done. So thank you all for listening. Go Knicks. Happy playoffs.
Yes.
And we'll talk to you guys maybe in a couple weeks, maybe a few weeks, maybe before the next round, something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Whatever we feel like it.
Whenever the fuck we want.